How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank you for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over mainstream media, social media, and everywhere. And I don't know where to start. First of all, rest in peace to all those who lost their lives in the shooting in Nashville, Tennessee at the school, at the Christian school. The 3 children and the 3 adults. There's a lot still to be said about that particular story. The LGBT element of it, the manifesto, why has that not been released? Should it be released? The former friend who was contacted. We'll talk about all that a little bit more a little bit later. Also, Matt Taibbi, you want to go testify before the House Judiciary Committee? Well, how about we, meaning the federales, pay you a visit at your house? Well, we know you're not going to be in town. We're going to leave a cryptic note talking about call us many days later. Like they just couldn't call you and tell you to talk to them on the phone that way without going to your house first. We'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. Also, shout out to the Meemaw out there in Houston, Texas, who had to use her Second Amendment right to defend her life. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Also, the whole drama with Just Pearly things. If you guys know anything about that, we're going to get into it. That whole thing is a matter of making decisions that make sense versus not. Also, speaking about bad decisions, the Atlanta corrections officer, we'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. If you like what you're hearing thus far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. This is also a podcast you're listening to, whether you're hearing it on the YouTubes for the very first time, live in front of an audience, or you're watching it on the replay on YouTube, or you're listening to it on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether they be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Apple, iTunes, etc. Links for the podcast will be available in the description box. Or just go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right up. This episode right now will be available at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning for your listening pleasure on those aforementioned platforms, audio only. So, for example, what's today? Wednesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. It'll be available for free on those platforms. Again, ABL Live on your favorite audio streaming platform. Also, shout out to my sponsors, of course. You guys know the best website on the internets. Second, like my website is second, theirs is first. We're 1A, 1AB. But that's patriotpost.us, patriotpost.us, your best source of news and information anywhere on these internets. They have an editorial, an op-ed, if you will, a column by me on there. Check that out whenever. I try to be consistent, write it every week. That's going to be my goal. Every week, we're going to do a column about whatever's going on. That'll be available at patriotpost.us. There's a lot of other columns on there, a lot of good authors, a lot of good memes. So you get hard-hitting news, memes, columns, opinion pieces, facts, all that good stuff right on the website, patriotpost.us. Y'all, please go over there, subscribe to them, check them on out. Also, my websites, you already know what it is. We have AnthonyBLogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. If you go to the front page of the website, you can find articles for each video that I produce. So if there's a video and I'm talking on it, I'm going to give you some context in the article. I'll give you some sources, left, right, center, independent, politically agnostic, whatever you want to say. All my sources will be under each article, so you can fact check me for yourself. I always tell people that. It's like, look, don't just take my word for it. Look it up. If you're ever doubting, hey, ABL, where'd you get that factoid from? How'd you come to that conclusion? Well, I'll tell you right on the website, AnthonyBLogan.com. Go to the front page. Everything you need is right there. Also, if you ever want to contact me, please go to the contact page of my website, AnthonyBLogan.com/contact. You can find my email address, my snail mail address, my social media accounts, my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff is right there on the website. Also have a TikTok page. I need to put that on there if I've not done so already. And what I don't have on the contact page is a phone number or a WhatsApp or anything like that, which goes into my weekly warning. Please, oh, please, oh, please, do not respond to any comments on my videos that look like they could be me, but aren't. It's pretty easy to see when it's me and when it's not me, but not everybody's too technologically savvy. So here's a hint to see if you're being kind, if you're being gamed, if you are in the process of being scammed. If you respond to one of my videos and then someone replies to your response that looks like me, and they say, hey, contact me on this WhatsApp number, text me over here, call me over there, and it looks kind of weird, looks kind of suspicious and kind of off, it's not me. I'm never going to ask you to call me. The only time I'll ask you to call me is during the show, 434-658-1220, and only at a certain time in the show, not even throughout the entire 8 to 11 hour, pardon me, only at a certain period of time will I ever ask you to call me. Or you can't text me. You can only call me for a short period of time during the show. You would never call me outside the show. You can email me, and my email is on my website, contact@anthonyblogan.com. It's on the website. Anything else other than what's on that website is not me. Address, you want my snail mail address, my P.O. box, again on the website. Anything else, that's not my address. Please don't go sending $1 million to some Nigerian prince. I am Anthony B. Logan, huh? I am ABL. Please give me the money. I'm ABL. Okay, let's go ahead and roll it. That's not me. I promise it's not. So don't be fooled. Don't get fooled by the African impersonator. It's not MAGA country. It's not none of that. Just be careful, be vigilant, and tell your Meemaw and Pawpaw to be vigilant as well, because we gotta be aware. Not everyone is very computer savvy. I always tell the same story about my dad. I'm gonna tell it one more time because you haven't heard it. And if you have heard it, well, enjoy it for the millionth time. I'm always like the IT guy, especially when I was younger from my family. A lot of my family members had computers, like desktop computers, laptops and whatnot, and they always had problems. Nowadays, nobody really has desktop computers. I mean, I do. A few of us do, but most everybody's on their phone. It's a bit more user-friendly, okay? They dumb it down to the point where you can't really mess it up. But I was going to say something else, but I'll digress. I'm about to say, if you go to a certain website, it might get messed up, but I'll leave that right there. But anyway, I digress. So back in the days of desktop computers, I was the IT guy. So my family would call me with problems. One day, my dad's calling me freaking out. Hey, Anthony, I can't turn the computer on. What's wrong with the computer? I can't turn it on. I'm trying to turn it on. I got to work. I can't do nothing. I'm like, Dad, let's just relax here for a minute. Okay, let's troubleshoot. All right, let's start first things first. The computer won't turn on. Is it plugged into the wall? I heard silence on the phone. Then he started laughing like, yeah, nah, it's all right. I'm gonna call you back. So at that point, the computer was not plugged into the wall, and he was about to have a whole meltdown over a technical issue. So I understand not everybody is very computer savvy. So I'm here to tell you, do not respond to these trolls on my channel or any other channel. You can be anywhere. You could be on a channel that has 1,000 subs, 1,000, 10,000 subs, 1 million subs, anything in between or more or less. Sometimes they have trolls posing as them as well, trying to scam you. Okay. Also with emails and fake cash apps, whatever you got to figure out, just go to my website. If it's not there, it's not me. All right. So that's that. Now we got quite a few topics on deck for tonight, and I don't know where to start. I think I want to start with the Atlanta officer. Yeah, the Atlanta officer. I gotta talk about that one first. It's a tad bit adult, but not really. Now, well, the Atlanta corrections officer. So basically, this is an issue that is plaguing prisons and jails all over the country. It's not just with this particular officer, it's a lot of people. Okay, so the story is as follows. An officer in Atlanta, and by the way, ATL Scoop, you guys are crazy on Instagram. You guys are crazy for posting the actual video. I did not think I would see it because the allegation, well, not the allegation, what happened was an officer, a female corrections officer, had an inappropriate relationship with a male inmate in the actual jail, Fulton County, Georgia, Atlanta area. Now, there was an inappropriate act done with the inmate's finger. I'll leave that right there, okay? I don't want to get too graphic. We got little kids watching, but there was something inappropriate done between the inmate and the corrections officer. Now, somehow, some way, this officer wound up being recorded by this inmate doing this act. And the video got out on ATL Scoop. Like I said, you guys are crazy posting that video. You know, I'm on Instagram minding my business, and they say, okay, officer commits LUDAT, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, bet. But then I kept scrolling, like, on the little slides, and then I see the video. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's slow down here. I did not think I would see all this. Is it just me, or I don't know. I feel like I've seen too much. I wish I could unsee certain things. You know, like, a lot of my day is spent on social media looking for topics and researching. Also, I'm reading news articles. I'm watching certain news clips, certain news shows sometimes. And sometimes they show things and I'm like, you know what? You probably could have kept that one in the drafts and did not publish it. My virgin eyes did not need to see that which I saw, because now I can't unsee it. All right. It's going to be burned in my mind forever. Whenever I see a corrections officer or a prison, I'm going to think ATL Scoop and that nasty video. So thanks for burning the image in my mind forever. But anyway, I digress. The point is that the officer got arrested because you can't do that. An inmate cannot have relations with an officer, because as far as I know, maybe I'm wrong about this, you'll let me know in the comments, but an inmate cannot give consent because you're considered state property. Maybe wrong about the reason, but regardless, you can't give consent as an inmate. So automatically you're going to get locked up for that if you are a corrections officer and you get caught in that type of thing. The problem with that is it's rampant. It's rampant with inmates and officers. Like in the actual jail or prison, it's rampant. Not only you have the corrections officers sneaking in contraband because the inmate had a whole cell phone, which was found. See, the way the whole story got uncovered was there was a shakedown of the inmate's cell and they found a cell phone, and on that phone was the video of him and the officer. Okay, so how did you get a cell phone in the penitentiary? I heard of a story where an inmate had a gun smuggled in. I mean, we're talking about a security risk, not just something that's inappropriate and shouldn't be done. The CEO is going to get locked up. Not just that. We're talking about a legitimate security risk. Yeah. Because if you're bringing in cell phones and you're having an inappropriate relationship, then what's next? You're going to sneak in guns. You're going to sneak in drugs. Are everywhere in prison. So that's going to be a serious issue. And this actually became a big security breach a while back. Remember that officer in Alabama who helped the inmate escape? Hold on, I'm gonna find that right quick. The inmate escape. There we go. Yeah. Here we go. Okay, let's not have this going on. Let's turn these the ad blocker off right quick. And don't flood me with ads though. I don't really want to have that happen. Nope, see? Okay, a 30-second ad, anybody got time for that? But anyway, let's put this up right here. I think this might be it. There we go. So check it out. Remember these people right here? Alabama corrections officer who escaped with inmate has died in the hospital. Now, I think what happened was she put the pistol to her own head. It might have been some kind of self-deletion, but I think they charged that guy. The story is that these two were in a relationship. Obviously, that's the officer right there, the female corrections officer, and this is the inmate, the guy on the left. She helped him escaped. Okay, and it was a whole big crazy mess. He wound up getting caught again, charged with her death. It was a mess. But these kind of things happen far too often. Inmates and officers having relations. And you would think, maybe there's some other guys out there that you can talk to, be in a relationship with, rather than the guy that's in prison. Maybe. But you'd be surprised. I done seen plenty of women on core links and stuff like that. And a lot of guys too. I didn't seen guys looking for inmates. I came across this Facebook group talking about female inmates looking for pen pals. 100,000 people in that group. It's crazy. People are doing a lot of different things out here in this country. But my general point is that these kind of stories of inmates and officers getting together, security risks, all kind of stuff. Oh, and the craziest one, before I come back to the officers and the inmate, the main thing is about men and women being together in the same prison, whether they're locked up together as in inmates or whether they are corrections officer and inmate. If you are a CO, you're pretty much locked up in the prison with the inmate while you're on your shift, because you can't just walk outside. There's locks on the door. You got to be able to open it. You're pretty much locked up with the inmates. This dynamic shouldn't really be happening. You should have men in the men's prison and woman's side have women. Simple as that. Anything else, you're going to have security risks. But there was another incident involving men and women in the prison together. And this story right here, let me see if I can pull it up without them trying to give me a bunch of ads. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Here we go. All right, there we go. Not a bunch of ads and nothing crazy like that. Shout out to NJ.com. Ain't nobody got time for that. Why am I on those sites? Y'all not say you joking. I saw it on Facebook. I would never be on no site looking for no pen pal in the penitentiary. That is not my cup of tea. That's not my steez. But anyway, so here is the article from NJ.com. In as in NewJersey.com. The transgender woman who impregnated 2 women in prison now fears for quote unquote her life. We're going to get to this whole thing about misgendering and all that kind of stuff later with the whole Nashville story, because that thing has been ridiculous, totally ridiculous, with tiptoeing around, or is it he and she and all this and that. But look, all right, if you can get women pregnant, isn't it logical to call you he? Isn't it logical to call you a man? I mean, maybe I'm just tripping. Hey, y'all let me know in the comments. Is it just me, or doesn't logic step in here and say, you know what? If you have your twig and berries, your tallywhacker, your thingamabobber, okay? If you have that and you get 2, not one, but 2 women pregnant in prison, isn't it appropriate to call you he? I'm just saying. Anyway, this is exactly why you do not have men in the prison with women. I don't care how you identify, sir. I don't care what you identify as. You can identify as Dora the Explorer. You can identify as a bowl of oodles and noodles, ramen noodles, whatever you want to call it. You can identify as a flat earth. Listen, whatever you think, whatever delusion you have, whatever mental disability, a disorder you have, does not change the fact you still have your male equipment. Period. You should not be in the same prison alongside women. And that goes for the COs and the inmates. They should not be together, because you're going to have things like this happen. It's bad enough when you have men in the same facility and a man gets assaulted, you know, and that's bad enough. You got HIV floating around. That's bad enough, right? But then when somebody gets assaulted and then there's a pregnancy, or there's a consensual relationship and there's a pregnancy, it's like, well, what are we doing? Oh, and then it can't be consensual because you in prison. You got all kind of laws being broken. You got just a bunch of ridiculous nonsense going on. All right. A bunch of ridiculous nonsense. Like, what are we going to do? Are we going to have a daycare facility in the prison? How does that work? If you give birth to a baby that you conceived in prison, do they send you to the hospital? Does they take the baby away immediately? CPS? Like, how does that work? You can't raise no baby in the penitentiary, can you? This whole thing is crazy. But like I said, the story in Atlanta of the officer that I'm not going to show here, you know, a lot of you guys, you know, I can see what articles get a bunch of traction on my website. I can see all the data and everything. You guys, I know what y'all like to see. Hey, when I put that Atlanta officer video out, and then I was like, hey, if you want to see the actual video, for some reason, links in the description. Y'all went to that description. Y'all sure did. You sure did. Okay. If I say something about, hey, Matt Taibbi's getting pressed by the federales, man, I don't want to see that. But that officer, hey, man, I want to see something like that. And hey, I guess that's human nature at a certain point, which goes back to the whole thing about you need to keep men and women separate in a prison and also separate in a lot of other places, not just prison, but I don't know, maybe they shouldn't be in the same bathroom together, the same locker room together. Some would even say the same workplace. I'm not really sure I'll go that far, but some jobs I would say should be mostly dominated by men or women. Yeah, some jobs I would say that's probably appropriate because I'm not sure that can you have like a biological ex woman on the front line with you, like in battle? Can it be an infantry? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it is. I'm no military expert. You guys that have been in the military or you're a veteran, y'all let me know in the comments. Is that a thing? Having a G.I. Jane type person in real life on the front lines with you in war over in Afghan or Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, etc. Like, what's going on with that whole situation? All right. But yeah, let's go back to keeping society a little bit separate. We're getting too far into diversity, equity, and inclusion. And you know what? I saw a good picture that kind of encapsulates this. It's not prison or jail related. It's about ESPN. If you guys ever watch or watched past tense ESPN back in the Stuart Scott days, back in the sane Keith Olbermann day, because contrary to popular belief, Keith Olbermann wasn't always this way. Keith Olbermann used to be a sane person. I used to like Keith Olbermann on ESPN way many years ago, but recently, over the past, I don't know, 5 years, ever since Trump, really, he's been unhinged. I'm talking about foaming at the mouth, all type of stuff, just off the chain, ridiculous. That's been Keith Olbermann. But again, it wasn't always that way. It sure wasn't. Now, let me pull up this picture right here. Here we go. You see this picture here? Now, this is a screenshot of ESPN. This is an ESPN screenshot right here. And it's like, okay, what am I looking at here? Are these two women? I think so. Whatever happened to women having to dress a certain way, and I'm talking about hairstyle as well. Since when did we allow bald head women on TV? I mean, I don't care if you got alopecia or what's going on. You could at least put a wig on. I mean, at a certain point, we're talking about, appearance. Okay, if I was to go on television, I have the decency to put a suit, tie, jacket on. Even if I'm only presented that way from the waist up, I could have on basketball shorts and Crocs up underneath it, but I wouldn't even do that. If I'm going to Bristol, Connecticut, I'm going to put on my my Sunday's best. Bald head, all kind of crazy stuff going on, big crazy earrings. Like, are we going to television? Or are we going to the club? What's happening? But since when did women dominate the sports industry talking about it? If I'm watching sports, like, I would venture out to say that you're talking about football, which is what they're talking about right here. NFC, like you're talking about NFL football, 80-90% of the fans are going to be male. So what's this? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Putting women in spaces where they don't normally belong, and the same thing with men. And it's to the point now where men are not just in women's spaces. Men have become women and have invaded women's spaces. Again, it's not just about men being in the woman's space. Example, the whole bathroom issue. It's not just like you got Paul Bunyan walking into the ladies' room and he's Paul Bunyan and there ain't nothing going on. He's a man and everybody knows he's a man. It's Paul Bunyan all of a sudden now becoming Paula Bunyan, looking the exact same way, dressing the exact same way, but he says, I'm a woman, and if you think I don't belong here, that means you're a bigot. That's what's going on nowadays. And it's like, what do you do to fight against it? And back in my day, again, old man shakes fist at cloud. Back in my day, if you were a man and you venture into the women's restroom, it's all kind of screaming going on, get out of here, all this and that. But now it's quiet. I don't want to be called a bigot. I don't want to be called racist. So I will just keep my mouth shut. And I won't say a word about this big lumberjack, tree lifting, powerlifting, Mr. Olympia, 15 grocery bags at one time looking dude in the bathroom with me. I don't want to be considered a bigot. And of course, you're going to have assaults and whatnot rise, but it's fine, right? Because it doesn't matter if we have more assaults, women getting stalked, not being safe. It doesn't really matter because we can say that we were on the right side of history, letting men identify as women and then go into the women's restroom. Okay. Now I have one more. There's a video here, but I'm not going to play the video just because I know you guys don't want to see that. But this is where we're going. This is where we're going. I think we all pretty much know what's happening. You know, there's quite a few letters. There's quite a few letters in LGBT plus QXY squared. There's a lot of letters. But here's the question. What letter in LGBTQ are they going to add? Matter of fact, let me rephrase it. What letter are they going to affix at the end of LGBTQ, etc.? What's the next letter? What is it going to stand for? Okay, so this is your homie Dylan Mulvaney, right? Dressed as a baby doll. Dylan Mulvaney is a full-grown man, probably about 30-something years old. If he goes an hour without shaving, you got a 5 o'clock shadow. Okay, if he goes 1 hour without shaving, 5 o'clock shadow. I saw him on The Price is Right with a whole shadow. He probably was clean shaved when he started the programming, and then by the end of the shoot, he had a 5 o'clock shadow. Okay, this is a full-grown man, tall, probably about 6 foot, looking like Ryan Reynolds, just without eating for about a month. He's dressed as a baby doll. So again, and he's dancing and stuff. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to just kind of, do this number here. What letter are they going to affix to the back of LGBT? Y'all already know. Y'all know where we're going. What reason would a man dress as a baby doll? What's the reason? A woman, I understand, maybe Halloween or something like that. Okay, cool. But what about a man doing that? Who's openly LGBT? Like, what's the next step? What are we doing? Y'all got it right. I see the letter right there. I see the letter. Y'all already know what it is. That's where we're going. That's where all the stuff is going. Which is why I'm so adamant about speaking against it. People say, hey, ABL, why you keep bringing it up? Because we got to stop this. We got to stop this madness from happening. You got to just be Paul Revere. You got to do something to stop this madness. That's why we have the bills right here in Tennessee that are going to stop this madness. And it's crazy that you got to have a bill that says that minors should not be around adult drag performers. It's like, how did we even get to the point where that was okay? Having adult drag performers around minors. Like, nobody ever thinks to bring a child inside of a strip club. That's not even a thing that you would do and think it's okay. Who ever thought that it was all right to bring their little boy or girl into a strip club? But yet we have these adult men and women bringing children into a drag show. I don't really get it. Like I said, there was one drag show where this dude was dancing around with prosthetic breasts, all kind of weird stuff going on. And then when he came upon a child, he covered himself up because he knew that this shouldn't even be going on. He should not be being paraded around in front of minors. It's simple. If they want to have a drag show with adults only, then that's their business. I'm not going to go to the drag show. No thanks. You're going to invite me and get me drunk and try to put me in some weird kind of get out situation with a bunch of dudes. I'm cool on that. No thanks. And I wouldn't go anyway, even if not for the inherent danger involved, because that's not really my cup of tea, not my style. But I can just say, no, I'm cool, and then let y'all rock out. But anyway, but leave the kids out of it. That's the whole thing. That's the point that I'm making. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Now, Matt Taibbi. You guys may or may not know who Matt Taibbi is. He is a journalist, a New York Times bestseller. He's written 10 books, 4 of which New York Times bestsellers. He's been a journalist since the early 90s, 1991. So over 30 years, he's been a journalist all over the world. He was most recently with the Rolling Stone. He's a legitimate journalist, not a partisan person, not a Trump supporter or anything like that. He's just a legitimate journalist, not one of these woke, ridiculous people. He is, from all I see, a pretty fair person, which is all I can ask for. You know, my thing about Elon Musk taking over Twitter, I just wanted fairness. I didn't want him to be biased one way or another. Be fair. And obviously, under the previous regime, Twitter was not fair toward conservatives. And part of the reason they weren't fair toward conservatives is because the government was not fair toward conservatives. You see, the government set up an official system of censorship, not only with Twitter, but with Facebook, Google, etc. It was a whole thing. Like, they would get requests from the CIA and whatnot to censor certain things. Like, hey, man, that article right there, we're not really feeling that too tough. Take that down. Or that tweet right there, go ahead and take that down. That person right there, let's go ahead and remove that, man. We're not really into that. We need to go ahead and just move forward. Matter of fact, I'm going to play his opening testimony, a little bit of it, from when he was speaking. And then I'm going to talk about what happened to him, who came to his house right as he was right here speaking in D.C. in front of Jim Jordan, a bunch of other people. You know, he's right here in D.C., so the federales know where he is. He's speaking in front of the House Judiciary Committee. So why would they go to his house at the same time? Intimidation. But before we get to that, let's play some of this here. Let's get a little bit of sound, and let's not blow your ears out with the crazy noise.
Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Plaskett, members of the Select Committee, thank you for having me today. My name is Matt Taibbi. I've been a reporter for 30 years and a staunch advocate of the First Amendment. Much of that time was spent at Rolling Stone magazine. Ranking Member Plaskett, I'm not a so-called journalist. I've won the National Magazine Award, the I.F. Stone Award for Independent Journalism.
Now, because before he started speaking right here, a Democrat in the House called him a so-called journalist because they were trying to discredit him. They're just trying to say, oh, you're a scribe for Elon Musk. And to back up a little bit before we continue, he is a guy that released the Twitter files, meaning him and his colleague, what's his name, Schellenberger, I forget his first name, they were given, also Bari Weiss, they were given a bunch of data, information, tweets, everything by Elon Musk, and they were told to go through it and report on it. Okay? Because one thing, I had just a bunch of pages and pages and pages of information. It's something different where you can read all of it and then create a story on it. Give a general narrative about what's going on rather than just reporting everything that happens, rather than just saying, okay, this happened that day and that happened that day. You need to read it and give a comprehensive summary of what you found. That's what his task was, alongside Bari Weiss and his other colleague, Schellenberger, who was right there in the House committee hearing with them. Let's continue.
And I've written 10 books, including 4 New York Times bestsellers. I'm now the editor of the online magazine Racket on the independent platform Substack. I'm here today because of a series of events that began late last year when I received a note from a source online. It read, "Are you interested in doing a deep dive into what censorship and manipulation was going on at Twitter?" A week later, the first of what became known as the Twitter Files reports came out. To say these attracted intense public interest would be an understatement. My computer looked like a Vegas slot machine, as just the first tweet about the blockage of the Hunter Biden laptop story registered 143 million impressions and 30 million engagements. But it wasn't until a week after the first report, after Michael Schellenberger, Bari Weiss, and other researchers joined the search of the files, that we started to grasp the significance of this story. The original promise of the internet was that it might
There's more, but I'm gonna kind of get to the good part. I'm gonna keep you guys too long. Nobody got TikTok brains, so y'all just hang tight with me.
left nor right issue. Following the trail of communications between Twitter and the federal government across tens of thousands of emails led to a series of revelations. Mr. Chairman, we summarized and submitted them to the committee in the form of a new Twitter files thread, which was also released to the public this morning. We learned Twitter, Facebook, Google, and other companies developed a formal system for taking in moderation requests from every corner of government, from the FBI, the DHS, the HHS, DOD, the Global Engagement Center at State, even the CIA. For every government agency scanning Twitter, there were perhaps 20 quasi-private entities doing the same thing, including Stanford's Election Integrity Partnership, NewsGuard, the Global Disinformation Index, and many others, many taxpayer-funded.
So that right there is why Matt Taibbi is now kind of on the naughty boy list. And also more about this, what the government want to do, they don't just want to surveillance Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc. They don't just want to surveillance. They want to get information from that surveillance, not only censorship, but also surveillance. So basically, if they see a thing they don't want on there, they're going to request that it get removed. And this is often going to benefit leftist type ideology. Okay. And a clear example of this was Hunter Biden. The New York Post reported on the Hunter Biden story. This is a reputable newspaper. That's Rupert Murdoch News Group. That's one of the oldest papers in the world, and definitely one of the oldest in the United States of America. Been around since the early 1800s. Old paper, been around, well respected. They're not going to put out any kind of garbage. If the New York Post puts out a story about Hunter Biden on the eve of the election, it's true. And then what happened? 52 intelligence officers wrote a letter saying that this had all the hallmarks of Russian misinformation. Check it out. We saw Hunter on the laptop video smoking crack. We saw his face. If you ever were to see me smoking crack, which you would never see me smoking crack. Crack is whack, right? I'm not no dope fiend. I don't even like weed. So I definitely wasn't smoking no crack. But if you saw ABL getting high, beaming the Scotty, who's going to say, oh, that's not him? Like, it'd be me. We saw him. They said, no, that ain't him. Don't believe your lying eyes. And then not only did they say that it wasn't him, Russian misinformation, all this and that, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere, everybody removed the story. Now, was that by happenstance, or was it a, hey, man, go ahead and remove that? What are you doing? This is election time. Our guy is running, and he might win. That is going to damage him. That was probably the most egregious use of this system to censor social media. And, we can blame the companies, but really it's the government's fault, because what are you going to do? Your Twitter, how the government can abuse their power. We saw what happened to all the 501c3s under Laura Loomer with the IRS and all that kind of good stuff. Laura Larner, Loomer, whatever her name is. Y'all know what I'm talking about. When the IRS targeted conservative 501c3 groups like Turning Point USA, etc., and it got exposed, what happened? Nothing. Same thing here. What if you don't play ball with the federal government? Then what? What happens? You see, people are going to be intimidated by the government and their business. Imagine you getting a call from the FBI saying, hey, delete that about Hunter Biden. Delete that. Go ahead. What are you doing? Matt Taibbi says what he said right here. Okay. He says what he says right there. And then as a result, what happens? On this same day, he was right there in that chair. The IRS came to his house talking about some call us in 4 days. Huh? They left a note on his door saying, call us in 4 days. Have you ever in your life heard about the IRS coming to somebody's house for any reason? The IRS, not the federales, which would be bad enough, not some drug, the IRS. And it wasn't even about anything serious. You would think if they come to your door, you'd have been embezzling money from Joe Biden himself. He needs to be doing something pretty serious. But there was no allegation of any kind of wrongdoing on his part. There was no big amount of money he owed. As a matter of fact, they owe him a big amount of money. They owe him all the money. There was no reason to come to his house. They could have sent him a letter. They could have written him an email. They could have called him on the phone. And check it out. Have you ever tried to call the IRS? Have you ever tried to call the IRS before? I have. Good luck getting anybody on the phone. Good luck getting anybody on the phone. It's not even a matter of you being on hold forever. They're going to hang up on you. Tell them some, there's no more available agents. Goodbye. And that'd be it. So if you can't even get them on the phone, then how are they going to come to your house? It's because they were trying to intimidate them. It's like, okay, we're going to send our goons after you. We know where you live. We know where you stay. And the reason they said they came to a house is because he had 2 tax returns from like 2018 and 2021 that were rejected because of identity fraud concerns. It's like, really? Is that why you came to my house? Because of that? Some old tax returns that got rejected? Really? Is that what we're going to do? I mean, who am I? Am I Donald Trump with $1 billion in my pocket? Am I trying to be some kind of money launderer like Joe or Hunter Biden? Am I trying to do something like that? Like, what am I? I'm a journalist on Substack. What do you want from me? They were trying to intimidate him. And that's what goes on. That's why the federalists would call Twitter, Facebook, etc., intimidating them. That's why they went to Matt Taibbi's house, because he's getting too close to the truth, you know. And it's funny because I saw another tweet talking about the U.S. has warned Khashoggi, not Khashoggi, pardon, I'm getting ahead of myself. The U.S. warned Saudi Arabia about journalists that were locked up for tweeting. And I'm like, what are we talking about? We chopped up, or not we, they chopped up Khashoggi, a Saudi journalist who was working in the U.S. for a while. They chopped him up in the consulate. So what are we talking about? Look, here it is. House lawmakers demand Saudis release political prisoners detained for tweeting. I mean, what are you going to do about that? Seriously. It's hypocritical. I mean, we're not going to do anything. We didn't do anything when it talked to Khashoggi. We didn't do a thing. Okay, Mohammed bin Salman just can do whatever he wants, right? And then we have our own political prisoners. January 6th, you got guys in solitary confinement for years now for no reason, for real. And you got people being intimidated for tweeting or for reporting on certain tweets. People, they're threatening to lock people up over revealing public information, whistleblowing, things of that nature. Whistleblowers are protected by federal law, yet they are being persecuted by the federal government through intimidation. Tell me how that works. We can't even follow our own laws. So how are we going to try to criticize or threaten Mohammed bin Salman and the Saudi kingdom over something like this? It's kind of ridiculous, but whatever. You know, every day I just see new things that kind of just it kind of confuses me. But then when I realize what's going on in the world and the way things work, I'm just like, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense now. It doesn't make sense until you understand that it does make sense. This is pretty much par for the course. We're going to saber-relate them talking about, oh, you can't lock them up, but we're going to do the exact same thing over here. Okay, you guys be nice over there. They chopped the guy up in the consulate, and we're over there next week shaking his hand. It's like, it's so dumb. So dumb. You're right about that. Stonework says, I'm so glad I didn't go to D.C. on 1/6. Imagine being in jail for that. I knew that it was going to happen. I saw that coming. Well, I didn't know about the political prisoner part, but I knew there would be trouble. With an event like that, I saw it coming because it's so open to the public that you're going to have a bunch of bad actors in the mix. Your Ray Epps of the world, an obvious Fed trying to incite people to go out there and commit acts of violence. Other people that were out there in D.C. I said it before on this channel. I was in D.C., not on January 6th, not even in 2021 at all, but I was there in 2020. Like, what was that, November 2020 with the Blexit march? It was like 2,000 of us in DC. And I saw Antifa out there at that moment. Matter of fact, I was out there, and shout out to RC Maxwell. Me and him were right next to each other, and we saw this guy. I mean, the guy looked like a non-playable character from like Elden Ring, some kind of wizard, Hogwarts looking like that. You understand? Like, just in your mind, picture a guy that's kind of big, white guy, right? Viking style, great beard. And I want to say he had on a fur coat that was like a bunch of different furred animals stitched together. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. It was like that. And he had a staff, and he was banging the staff on the sewer plate, making the signal. I didn't know what he was doing. RC was like, he's probably Antifa sending a signal to his other people in Antifa. That's probably what happened. So I saw them right there, right before January 6th. So I already knew that they were not going to be gone by J6, and they were going to be interspersed in the crowd. I knew that. I said that before it happened, and then here we are. Obviously, there were rabble rousers in the bunch that were not conservative, MAGA, or whatever you want to call it. But of course, they were able to just kind of be in the mix because it was open to the public. And now we have what happened. Y'all know what I'm talking about. This guy, the kind of outfit he had on, it probably wasn't that. But the way I remember it makes me think like that. He had this long stick. I mean, the guy, I'm 6'3". The guy was taller than me. He was big. Big, like, I mean, if Paul Bunyan got old and started to practice witchcraft, he looked like that guy. Yeah, Retro AI says counter signal. Yep. Because here's some context. The guy was doing the signal with his staff on the sewer plate when all of us were kind of getting together ready for the march, or it might have been toward the end of the march. I can't remember which one, but we were all like in one area, kind of a parking lot area in DC. It's probably about 1,000 of us right there at that time. And he was doing that to alert all the Antifa people about our presence. Yeah. Moses, yeah, he had a Moses vibe a little bit. Yep. A Moses vibe. Hold on. I'm gonna look something up right quick. Elden Ring NPC. How about can we get something like that? Okay, I'm getting close. I'm getting very close. All right. Not quite this guy or that guy, but I'm gonna give you guys a rough generalization of how the guy looked in my mind. Okay. So something like that, right? You see the coat, and he's kind of big like that. Not this big broadsword, but you see the sword's handle. He had something like that. Seriously, I'm not even joking. He had something like that. If the sword's handle would continue throughout to the base of the sword without the broadsword, that's pretty much what he had. And then he had this big coat on. And this coat right here, it's not quite like a bunch of animals stitched together, but yeah, it's kind of like that. This big long overcoat on, and underneath, I'm not quite sure what he had on. It could have been some regalia from the 1500s. I don't know. And this wolf mask, not quite, but it might as well have been something like that. He had long hair. So that's pretty much, that's kind of how that guy looked in my mind. Out there banging his staff on a sewer plate. It was crazy. I saw that in DC back in November 2020. So I know what was out there in 2021, just like 2 months later. It was a similar thing. It was very similar. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. And we got a lot more to talk about here. So shout out to Matt Taibbi to wrap that particular story up. Matt Taibbi is doing the Lord's work out here reporting like a true journalist should. Shout out to all the real journalists, guys that are not going to show favoritism, nepotism, and that good stuff. If you're going to report, do a report. And also, one last thing to add about Matt Taibbi. he was told that whatever he found in the Twitter files, report on it. If it makes Elon Musk himself look bad, so what? Report on it. Report on everything that goes on. That's the way I am. You know, I'll be honest and tell the truth, even if it makes me look bad. If it makes, a friend or whoever, I'm going to just be honest and just tell the truth. That is a true journalist in my humble opinion, but I digress. I will go ahead and digress. We got a whole lot going on. A furry on steroids? Yeah. An old furry who decided he didn't want to wear the costume anymore. A furry who became a more courageous furry who decided to become a non-playable character in a video game, but in real life. It was crazy. I see a lot of stuff. It's to the point now where, like I said, I wish I could unsee it. You know, maybe some of you guys still have innocent eyes. You still have that innocence about you. That my innocence has been gone since I've been a little boy, for real. But I don't want to go down a dark road, so I digress. Let's get into some more stuff here. Let me see. Oh, speaking about lighter things, more happy stories. Shout out to the Houston grandmama, the meemaw, the big mama, the Madia, who took matters into her own hands when she was being robbed at her food truck. Now, you got a grandma, 50-something years old, just, making a living, starting a business, a food truck out there in Houston, cooking food, right? And I know for certain that food is off of the hook. It's off the hook. I can tell. By looking at Meemaw, I already know what time it is. I already know what it is. So shout out to her, first of all. But second of all, she's been in the same spot for a while, serving her food. And all of a sudden, some moron wants to come up and rob her in the food truck. Let's take a look at the news clip to see how that went.
Southwest Houston woman in the hospital tonight after police say she killed a robber in self-defense.
Now, to pause right there, she's in the hospital. She was not injured by the robber. She just had a panic attack, unfortunately. Now, hopefully, she'll be okay from that. But that's a lot for somebody to go through. Male or female, young or old, to have to bust your gun and, delete somebody, that's a lot. That's a lot. So I understand why she had a panic attack, because that's pretty heavy. But I'm glad she is physically okay.
But he said today she had no choice.
My mama a great person, like good-hearted, look out for everybody, give you the shirt off her back.
And his mother knows how to cook really, really good. And so we thought this would be a good idea in the neighborhood.
This is the woman they're talking about, 53-year-old Cassandra Howard Turner. The grandmother is the cook behind the counter of this soul food truck, part owner of Elite Eats, the business she and her family started back in 2020.
Now, I'll tell you what, I'm not really a big soul food guy, but I eat it occasionally, like family reunion or something like that. Christmas, that's like a treat for me every now and again. Normally, I'm very boring with my food. Very boring. Like chicken thighs, salmon, rice, like brown rice, steamed broccoli with nothing on it. People were like, hey, not gonna put any salt on your broccoli. You're not gonna put any sauce on your broccoli. It's like, nah. I'm gonna get some plain steamed broccoli. I'm a boring guy when it comes to food, for the most part. I'm not really a foodie. You know what I mean? I'm not really a foodie. I'm gonna go to a restaurant and I get some decent food, but I'm pretty boring. I'm kind of guy that would go to a nice restaurant and get like a rotisserie chicken, like a half a chicken with a baked potato. I'm not gonna really do too nothing fancy. So when I go to Houston, because I'll be there sometime this year, I suppose. Shout out to Blexit. Y'all get me out there. But when I go to Houston, I'm going to this food truck. I'm going there and I'm going to get something to eat. I don't care how greasy it is. I know for certain it's going to be good. It's going to hit that spot like nothing else. So shout out to her. I'm going to the food truck, but I digress. So get back to the story.
Soul food, some oxtails. And we got good hamburger, pork chop, wings. But people come from all over to eat here.
In the 3 years their truck has been open here in this parking lot off South Main and Fondren, the family says they've never had a problem with crime. That is, until today.
I hope she all right, because I know like she going crazy, because that's not even her.
Ms. Turner isn't here to tell us the story herself tonight. She's in the hospital after her family says she did something she never wanted to do.
She was not injured, just had a panic attack. Very stressful situation for her, being robbed and have to use deadly force. So needless to say, she was upset.
At about 1 o'clock this afternoon, Houston police say a man pulled up to the food truck in this black pickup, got out and walked up to the window.
Asked us what kind of food they sell. They showed him a bag of chicken, and the guy pulled out a gun, opened the window, and pointed the gun inside.
Then police say he demanded cash.
She's licensed to carry, so yes, she carries a gun just in case something may happen.
Today, something did happen. Ms. Turner had to think fast. Police say she grabbed her gun and fired at the robber. Then the suspect tried to get in through the door to the food truck.
When she opened that window, he could have shot her, but it jammed. Thank God it did.
Police say Ms. Turner shot the suspect several times. The man nearly made it to the edge of the parking lot when he collapsed. The 23-year-old was dead when police arrived.
People they'll try to steal from anybody or anyone, you know. And for $40, we was only open an hour.
Tonight, the family is hoping their matriarch will be okay.
Imagine dying over $40. Imagine dying, losing your life over $40. Somebody going to say, well, hey, ABL, she only had $40. She gave the money up. Listen, when you draw your gun on me, I don't know what's on your mind. I have no idea what you're thinking about. So I'm not going to sit here and wait for you to make a decision to see what you're going to do. Okay, is he going to shoot me? Is he not going to shoot me? Is he going to be nice? Am I going to get tied up, kidnapped, pistol whipped? Anybody got no time for that. When you pull your gun out, all bets are off. I'm going to end you. I'm going to end the threat. Period. That's why brandishing is an offense. To even go like that, that's an offense, because doing that can end your life. So if you don't want to get smoked, don't pull your gun on me. It's simple. You want to come to my food truck? Buy some food. If you don't, all right, well, have a nice day. See you later. You pulling your gun out, man? And you know what? This kind of reminds me, because I know people are going to say that, get the money up, all this and that. It reminds me of the video that I put out about the home breaking, the home invasion. So I'm gonna try to find the full clip. Here it is. There was a home invasion where a person literally broke a door down. He kicked the door in, and then the guy didn't bust his gun or nothing like that. The guy didn't have a gun. He had a phone recording it. I'm like, where's your gun? Because listen, I don't advocate violence. I say, everybody, let's be peaceful. We all need to be peaceful, love each other. I'm Mr. Kumbaya. But, you gotta have certain boundaries too, right? I'm Mr. Kumbaya when it comes to just being able to talk to each other. We having a conversation. Ain't no point in trying to fight and pulling your gun out over a conversation. We're just talking. However, when there's an escalation, like, I don't know, kicking my front door down aggressively. See, now we've gotten into a space where we gotta do different. We gotta approach it differently. We gotta look at things differently here. We can't just say, "Oh, kumbaya," because now you're in a territory of hurting me or taking my life. So, in order to prevent that, then we know what's gotta happen. We know what's gotta happen here. If that was me, hold on. Before I get to it, let me just play the original clip. Fucking house. I'm sorry. There's a little bit of cussing. Matter of fact, hold on. Can I play it on YouTube or elsewhere? Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play this a little bit. It's a little bit of cussing. I'm gonna try to censor it whenever I can. So y'all just please hang tight. So this is me reacting to it. Obviously, no, it's not the same shirt. It's a different color green. How about that? Different collar too. It's a shorter collar on that one, a shorter button. But anyway, so at a certain point, the person recording this is inside the house, and he is talking outside of his window right there. Now, those window treatments, I don't know what's going on. Right when I saw the video, I was like, man, somebody already met Jesus already in there, because that looks like blood everywhere. He just had really bad window treatments. I don't know what was going on. Was it Halloween time? or what in the world's happening. Do they cut up beef in there and sell it on the is it a wet market in there? I don't know what's going on, but I digress.
Go away! This is not your house! Get the away!
Gotta go, sir.
This is not your fucking house! Go away!
Nah, you broke in.
I want my money.
So what happened right there? You see me making the gun motion. This guy kicked his front door in. It's like, look, I mean, if you're outside, I'm like, yo, get away from the house. It's not your house. Get away from the house. I'm warning you, verbal warning. Now, at least, if it was me, I would tell him with my gun in my hand, I'm armed. If you break my door down, I'm going to shoot you. It's warning right there. Don't do it. I'm not going to shoot through the glass of my window or through the door, the drywall, or anything like that. I'm not going to bust that gun until you breach my home. I'm perfectly within my right to do something. People in the comments are saying, oh, why would you shoot him over that, ABL? Don't shoot him. Huh? Oh, he was able to talk. He was looking for the guy that hit his daughter in the car. It's like, look, man, I don't care. You could be trying to find anything. You could be on the search for the Infinity Stones, for the guy that hit your daughter in the car. You could be on the search for the Yellow Brick Road, the Reading Rainbow. I don't care what you're looking for, but you can't do that. You cannot bust my door down. I'm going to have my gun instantly. I'm going to have my gun, man. Like, I don't even really play around like that. I don't play around like that, man. Like, that ain't what we do. Like, I got my gun ready to roll, allegedly. You know, again, you know, all my guns, it was a tragic boating accident. They're all gone. If I did have the guns that were lost, I got one in the head ready to roll. You want it? Okay, come on inside. If you don't, stay out there. Simple. Yeah, so the moral of the story is, don't start none, won't be none. Don't start none, won't be none. All right? But if you like what you heard, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Yeah, I probably look tall right here. I am tall. I'm 6'3". But it's like a different kind of angle. I mean, I guess it's not really like a super crazy angle. I don't know. I am tall though. But my fridge is probably right around my same height, I suppose. I might be a little bit taller than my fridge. Yeah. How tall is a normal refrigerator anyway? Like is it 6 foot? I mean, it's not like a gigantic refrigerator. It's like a regular size. Regular little French door on the top, and then at the bottom it has a freezer. Like one of those. All right. Devin, you want to go on a cruise with all of us? You want to go on a 3-year-long cruise you're talking about a few shows ago? I don't know about that one. That's going to be a lot. That's going to be a whole lot to deal with, you know, that amount of time on the cruise ship. I'm not sure if I'm built for that, quite frankly. All right. And what else we got going on? I got to okay, Judge Pearly things. Briefly, I'm going to talk about Judge Pearly things. Now, a lot of you guys may not know who that is. Because I've recognized about YouTube, what happens is it's segmented. Like, there could be a YouTuber with 10 million subs that you never heard of. Because you're not going to watch everything. If you come to YouTube for political content only, you might just watch that. You might watch me and other guys and girls that are in that same kind of category. And if you come here for everything, you might watch a little bit of everything. It depends on what you're interested in. You know, like I'm into certain tech videos, so I watch Linus Tech Tips, MKBHD, Flossie Carter, guys like that. I watch those guys. I watch computer builds. So I watch those kind of channels where they break stuff apart, put it back together. That's kind of what I'm interested in when I don't watch a lot of political stuff, really. I don't really watch Tim Pool or anybody like that because I don't want what they say to get in my head. You understand? Like if I'm watching somebody, I don't want to have any line of theirs that I liked stick in my head and then come out when I say it. Because when I record videos, I do it in one take. I do my videos in one take, and I only edit for just my intro, outro for the most part. If I stumble over a word, maybe I edit it out, but that's rare. Normally, one take, intro, outro, maybe I put a picture in it on top of me speaking, but for the most part, I don't do a ton of editing to my actual talk. So in order for me to do that properly without having somebody else's thoughts in my mind, I can't really watch other kind of content. Furthermore, I'm focused on my content. But if I'm watching other things, I'll watch stuff that you might not know about. Now, Just Pearly Things is a YouTuber who focuses on a lot of black issues. Now, some are going to say that's wrong because if you go to her channel, they're going to say, oh, it's about relationships and feminism and things of that nature. The problem is, well, the issue with that is when you go to her channel and you see the guests on her show and her staff and her fellow podcast mates, they're 80-90% black. So it's like saying Tyler Perry does not make black movies. It's like, how can you say that? The movies are about relationships and family and things of that nature, but 95% of the cast is black, 95% of the staff is black, he's black, but he didn't make black movies? How can you say that? And it's not even, I'm not trying to make it be racist, but it's just pointing the obvious out. It's just like I watched a movie on Netflix the other day, and it was a predominantly white movie. Everybody was white, and it was one black guy in the movie. One. That's okay. It was still a good movie. I don't really care that it was predominantly white. Just like if I watch a Bollywood movie, obviously it's going to be like 100% Indian. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. It's just pointing out the obvious. Now, you got to understand that because here's where I'm going to go with it. If Just Pearly Things has content that deals with 80-90% black people and them talking about their issues with modern women and dating and feminism and relationships and things of that nature, if that's her content and that's her whole strategy to build up a platform, and she's been very successful at it, does very good with it. I have no hatred, no jealousy. I'm saying, hey, hats off to her. You got to think about who you're catering to and what they're going to appreciate and not appreciate. So check it out. If you have all of that content going on, black, you bringing on Andrew Tate, who is black, he's mixed, biracial. If he's not black, neither is Barack Obama. But anyway, I digress. You're bringing on Andrew Tate, Brittany Renner. You got the guy, King Riches, Nigerian guy who's from London, Auntie Jenny, another black UK person. You got all these black folks on your platform, guest hosts, consistent people. And then what do? You bring on Nick Fuentes, one of the most hated guys, a guy that is largely viewed as a white supremacist, a racist. You bring him on. What's the thought process there? I'm going to tell you what happened. This is exactly what happened. Some saying she's a racist and she hates black people. I'm not really sure about that. That's possible, but I'm not going to put that on her. I'm going to say she's dumb and that she was chasing views. She realizes he has a really big platform. He's hated by the left and the right. It was a whole big trailer, right? Matter of fact, hold on. I'm going to play the trailer and you're going to see her thought process here. And I'm going to explain to you why this is a bad thought process to have. And if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And you know what? You can take this as really advice for business. It's not even about feelings or anything like that. It's about business. It's about why would you do this? Personally, I don't want a guy like Nick Fuentes around me because I already know kind of what time it is. He'll say inflammatory things just because all this about the blacks and the Jays, but if he can benefit from somebody that's from the community, he'll do it. Like Kanye, he don't really care. He'll be all up on Kanye wearing his clothes like a little boy, and then the next minute make a black joke, like totally offensive and racist, but if he can benefit from it, he'll do it. Same thing with the Jays. If he was given opportunity to be on a platform that was owned by some Jays, he could do whatever he wanted. He'll do it. He don't care. He'll say things like, don't interlope and all that just to get his base riled up. But here's the actual trailer she did. Now, she thought that she could just elevate to the level of Phil Donahue or Oprah or somebody like that. But how can she do that when her platform has been one thing? It's been black relationships, black topics, black. That's been what she's been doing to really get herself off the ground and blow up. Some of her early content was white girl reacting to hip hop videos. That's what she's been doing. So if that's your audience, why would you put out a guy like him to that audience? They're not going to take it well. And here's another thing. She's already seen as somebody that is like a carpetbagger. I'm not saying that, but people see her that way. They see her as a white person in a black space, and they're giving her a pass because she has good content, but they're kind of suspicious. It's just like DJ Vlad and Adam 22. But let's continue.
I'm Nick. I'm 24 years old, single. Fun fact about me, my favorite color is red.
So you see the trailer, dramatic, the most controversial figure. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do the movie voice. The most controversial figure.
What did you do to get this crazy reputation?
My best friend is Ye.
Okay. He literally works for him.
Oh, dude.
Well, I'm not on a whole lot of other social media. I'm kind of banned.
Conservatives and liberals both hate him.
How does your family feel about you doing political commentating?
We'll support you no matter what you do, that kind of thing. It's funny, though, because when I was growing up, that was the attitude, and I think they meant more like, you could be an artist, not like a right extremist.
Full video on Rumble, link in description. So she thought this would be something that would just break the internet. It'll get a lot of attention, a lot of clicks, a lot of views. This will be bigger than my Andrew Tate interview that really blew me up. It really got me really cracking and rocking and rolling. But see, what she didn't understand was that people were not going to receive it that well. People that matter. Guys like MCR has a really big channel. He disavowed her, said she messed up. A lot of guys and girls are on her neck right now in the black sphere. And the thing about it is, we warned her against this because weeks ago, right when that trailer came out, weeks ago, she was on Twitter asking people, hey, why are you guys so scared of Nick Fuentes? Like, why are you guys so scared to debate him? You conservative guys, why are you so scared? I responded. It's like, look, it's not even about being scared. It's about, why would you platform that guy? It's not, there's no upside to it. All you're going to do is get your channel nuked. He's been banned from everywhere for a reason. We don't want to touch this guy for a reason. He goes to CPAC, he gets banned for a reason. Because it's just like what happened with Trump. Remember when Trump recently had that dinner at Mar-a-Lago where Kanye, here's what probably happened. Trump wanted to have dinner with Kanye at Mar-a-Lago. Kanye decides to bring Nick Fuentes and Milo. Milo, we all know, he has a mission to destroy the GOP because of what he feels was done to him by the GOP. I don't even know what they did, but he hates the GOP. He wants to bring the GOP down, wants to bring Trump down. He is not our friend at this point. I'm not sure what happened, but that's what's going on. Kanye brings Milo and Nick. So what did they say the next day on the papers? Trump has dinner with white supremacists at Mar-a-Lago. So now Trump disavows all of them. Like, nope, I didn't know it. I don't know these people. I was there for Kanye. These other guys I don't know. Nobody wants to touch these guys with a 10-foot pole for a reason. Not Trump, not liberals, not conservatives, not the big tech. Nobody. We told her that. Man, you guys are cowards. All right. And then what happened? She put the video out, and then the very next day she deletes it, and is going on apology tours, going on Obsidian Media Network, talking for 5 hours on a stream, trying to apologize. We told her don't do it, but what do we know? And then some would say, well, you're denying him his freedom of speech, ABL, by saying that you're not going to platform him. Check it out. I'm not saying he can't say what he wants to say. I'm not saying he should not be able to speak, but I'm saying I don't want to have him on my platform. I have the right to deny my platform to anybody. I always get requests to come on, for people to come on the show. I don't even have guests. My platform does not belong to anybody but me. My name does not belong to anybody but me. My name is Anthony Brian Logan, ABL. That's me. That's it. It's simple. If I want to bring somebody on, that's my choice. But it's my choice. I don't owe anything to anybody. And I told her to not have him on because I knew what the results were going to be. You can bring him on all you want to. Go ahead. Freedom of speech, right? Do what you want to do. If you two consent, then go for it. But we know what the result is going to be. Why would you do it? If you want to dive from the top of the Empire State Building, go for it. But you probably shouldn't do it because you're going to die. you're going to die. Don't do it. Oh, freedom of speech, ABL, let her dive. Huh? I don't really get it. It's weird. It's so weird. I think most normies understand what I'm talking about, but a lot of people that are his fans, they don't really get it. They don't get it. They're saying stuff like, yo, you should, you owe him your platform. It's like, excuse me? I don't owe anybody my platform. Nobody. I don't care who you are. You could be my grandmama. I don't care. I don't owe nobody my platform, period. Since when did we become so entitled as conservatives? Most of you guys aren't. But nah. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm gonna try to find the tweet right quick. I'm gonna just read some of the chats. Hold on, let me see. 561 Lifestyle says ABL is wrong. Pearl doesn't produce black content. Dating podcasts aren't owned by the black community. WTF? By that same logic, Tyler Perry does not make black movies because the movies are not about. The movies are about family and relationships and things of that nature. So by that logic, Tyler Perry does not make black movies. All right, roll with that. Tell Tyler Perry he doesn't make black movies. Like, be for real. Like, what kind of brain power do you have to say something like that? Go to her channel. Look at the guests. The guests, 80-90% black. It's for a reason. It's done on purpose. And it's okay. It's okay. Vlad TV, another one. Vlad TV, go there, 80-90% black. It's a hip-hop channel. Oh, nah, it's not just hip-hop, it's other stuff. Come on, man, be for real. Be serious. Why play like that? Why we gotta act like that? Why can't we just say what it is? It's so weird. All right, now, thank you, Optimist Heart. I appreciate it because I thought I was just tripping. And, you know, that video that I did, it got a lot of response, a lot of negative response, but still 82% like to dislike ratio. You guys can't see that on your end, but I can. People, I didn't lose many subs on that. I might have lost like 100 subs out of almost 1 million. And I didn't lose, like on my channel, I'm still growing. Like I didn't actually lose any momentum in my actual growth. So there's no actual net loss there. It just looks like it could be like that because it's a lot of comments that are really polarizing. Either way it goes, it was going to be about the same kind of like to dislike ratio. If I was to come out and defend her and say, I love Pearl, she's my queen, it would have been the same thing. Oh, you caper for her, ABL, you love the white woman. It'd have been the same thing. This issue is divisive, which is exactly why we said don't do it. Because a lot of us that know the inside scoop, you guys don't know. A lot of us already saw this whole thing coming. I knew I'll be right here making this video. I already saw it. You know, I don't want to come off as like I know everything and I'm just some type of shade, but it's just like at a certain point, I've been doing this so long. I've been dealing with people for a long time. Before I was doing this whole thing with YouTube, I was doing business with people. And I would sit and talk for a long time. I was in a restaurant before that. I've been dealing with people. I've been dealing with the public for so long. I see patterns and I know how people are. I know how people are, and I was able to see the pattern, and I'm right. Hold on. Matter of fact, here it is. Here's the tweet I'm talking about. Matt Steve says, "Hey ABL, startup wet, white entertainment television, funny, hilarious." I'm not sure if that was like being sarcastic or what, but you know the reason why BET got started is because for a while you couldn't put a black artist on mainstream television. They would not play Michael Jackson in the 80s. Thriller time, they would not play Michael Jackson. That's why BET came about, because you had to have Michael Jackson. You know, why would you not have Michael Jackson on TV? You can say what you want now about Mike, Wacko, Jacko, all this and that and the third, but Michael Jackson in the 80s, he wasn't even on TV. It wasn't even up until recently where they would even televise the hip hop and R&B category at the Grammys. They wouldn't even they would have that before the show even started. So it's like, okay, if you're going to have this category of music not even get the respect to be on TV, why not have your own? This is what I always preach, rather than crying to the white man, blaming the white man, do something for yourself. That's why I always joke about blame the white man, because it's dumb to do that. Rather than blaming the white man, you do something for yourself. It's simple. It's just nothing else to it. Do something for yourself. So here's a tweet right here from Pearly. Why are conservatives afraid of debating Nick Fuentes? This is for February 24th. Why are conservatives afraid of debating Nick Fuentes? It doesn't make sense to me. If you think he's wrong, shouldn't you be able to say to his face why he's wrong so others don't listen to him? Now, she asked this question back then and then doubled down on it a lot at that time when she asked it. Oh, you guys are scared. You guys are cowards. I'm going to do it still. And then my response was, not afraid of him. There is just no upside to platforming a known racist and a closet queer who will do nothing but get your channel nuked. And here we are today having a conversation. I said that February 24th, 2023. Here we are 1 month later, and what I said was not quite all the way right about the channel getting nuked, but she is definitely in a lot of hot water. But I already said it, already called it. And it's nothing I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to speak, but if your platform is based on a bunch of black folks talking about relationships, and you do that for a whole year, then you do a whole curveball of Nick Fuentes in the mix, that's going to open the can of worms. Now you got a problem. Now she didn't respond back. Nah, because she's a strong, independent woman. She got it. All right. Okay, cool. And here we are. I mean, I wish people would just listen to what I'll be saying. You know what? If I really was like envious of her or jealous, I would just not say nothing. I would not try to warn somebody that I don't like, because if I know it's going to end that way, I'll let it happen. It's like with a little kid, right? And they're acting up, they're acting the fool, they bounce around the house. And you keep telling them, all right, stop playing like that. You're going to bust your head now. Like, all right, you know what? I won't say no more. I'll just let them fall. And then when they fall and start crying, man, you learn now, didn't you? You learn now. Okay, now I bet you won't do it no more. That's why you got to kind of carry some people sometimes. But I tried to warn her as an adult, but hey, maybe it takes sometimes you got to do things like this and then learn for yourself. So it's whatever. It is whatever. Okay. 561 says, I see your point. You seem to think she's using the black community to grift and climb the algorithm. Plus, having Nick Fuentes is definitely a firecracker, especially with the mostly black panels and cast. I don't know about that part. I don't know about the grifting part. I think she does a really good job with her content. I wouldn't go that far to say that. I'm just saying that if your content is one way, then it doesn't make sense for you to throw a curveball of Nick Fuentes in there, because it's going to be a negative reaction. It's going to be a negative reaction. I don't got no dog in the fight. I'm not in that space. I'm not in a relationship and feminism and red pill and I'm not over there. I talk about news and politics, but I know a lot of those guys over there. I know a lot of them, they know me. I met some of these guys before, so I got their numbers, so I already know what is happening behind the scenes, and I knew what the reaction was going to be. And exactly what I thought was going to happen happened, and here we are. Look at this photograph. That's what's happening here. Exactly, Amanda Thomas. ABL, she says ABL, I say that all the time about kids. They still don't listen, Elder Well. Exactly. They're not going to listen. But then when they fall, man, all right, there you go. Congratulations. You played yourself. Let me see. I'm reading some of the comments here. Mike A says, I think ABL is saying regular broadcast TV wouldn't show Michael Jackson, only cable. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I was live in the 80s. Don't get it twisted. I remember Michael in the 80s. I was a little boy, but I do remember Michael in the 80s. All right. My zodiac sign, Virgo, last day of Virgo. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm doing the Virginia sign for Virgo. Yeah. But I was born on September 22nd, so that makes me last day of Virgo. All right. But yeah. Oh, and another thing about somebody said something about BET. Then I'm talking about, well, you couldn't really be a black artist on TV. That's why you had HBCUs. People still complain about HBCUs. I don't really understand. HBCU does not mean only black. It means historically black. You have HBCUs because at one point you couldn't have blacks and whites at the same school. There was segregation. So you had to have black schools and you had to have white schools. That was the law of the land. Now, to this day, some schools are still majority black and some are still majority white. The difference is that the majority white schools are not marketed the same way as the majority black schools. Furthermore, historically is a moniker that's not always accurate when it comes to HBCUs. Or, pardon me, it's accurate, but it's not representative of what's happening right now today. You have some historically black colleges that are mostly white. West Virginia State University, West Virginia, that's 70-something% white. Bluefield State is about the same thing, 80-90% white. As demographics change in the area, so does the population of the school. So it is what it is. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Somebody says HBCU means borrow lots of money for a useless degree. I mean, you can get a useless degree anywhere. You know, you can get that at HBCU or a PWI. We call that a primarily white institution. I mean, if you go for underwater basket weaving, it don't matter where you get it from. Now, if you go to actually be something like a doctor, lawyer, a thing that really requires college education, that's a little bit different. You know, personally, I think all college at a certain point could be a scam, depending upon what happens and how you go, what you go to college for. You know, people think that I'm like, I have a graduate degree. All I have is an associate's degree. I realized when I was at ODU in Norfolk, mostly white, I think, I realized after a while it was a scam. I don't want to go down that road and get triggered again, so I will go ahead and digress. Matter of fact, I'm going to go down that road. HBCUs are not always expensive, Kelly. It depends on where you go. If you go to Hampton, it's expensive, but not Norfolk State and Norfolk. Norfolk State is like the same as ODU, last I checked. When I was trying to go to Norfolk State, it was the same as ODU, the same price. Norfolk State, black college, ODU is mostly white. And the reason why I didn't go to Norfolk State is because I couldn't get in contact with the actual admissions guy. It was just a time factor. But ODU was no better. ODU kind of sucked. The community college I went to was better than ODU because I was going for graphic design. When I was in my graphic design class at the community college, Topwater Community College, I was in this specialized place right in downtown Portsmouth, right on the corner of High Street, Crawford, that little area right there is this building. You go inside, it's a little art gallery on the first floor. You go up to the third floor. You got this computer lab with like nice big spacious tables, comfy computer chairs you can lean back in. It was beautiful. At the time, this is like 06. They had 05. They had brand new iMacs in there. It was beautiful. I loved it. At a community college, I'm paying next to nothing for the tuition. It's like 2 or 3 bands. It's not a whole lot of money at all in 2004, 2005. So I transferred to ODU thinking that, hey, greener pastures are going for a bachelor's degree. It costs more money. Okay, I get there. They got these old school desks. Hold on, I'm gonna show you the desk they had. Old school desks, old computers. I'm thinking like Oregon Trail, big ugly tan boxes. It was like, what in the world? What in the 8th grade computer lab is this? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it right quick. All right, so the desk looked like this. I was like, what happened to my nice, big, spacious desk and computer chairs and iMacs and natural light from the big, pretty window and all? What happened to all of that? I'm sitting on this right here in the computer lab, for real? Is that what we're going to do? And then when you go to the actual computer, it's like a shelf affixed to the wall. It was a mess. Long story short, college, it depends on where you go, why you go, and that's really it. Historically, black, white, it don't even really matter. Why are you going there? What's your purpose? Are you going to network? Are you going to get a trade? Are you going to be a doctor? What are we doing? The 6th grade desk, I'm like, look, I'm a full grown man. You know, I'm in college, but at the time I'm like 21. It's like, look, man, I don't got no time for this, man. I'm trying to go out to the street right now and sell some DVDs and some flyers. I ain't trying to be in here in this 6th grade desk. You know, I'm not paying all this money for ODU to be at this little desk scrunched up like this. This ain't even the wave right now. It was a mess. It was a mess. I left ODU after a year because they told me that my credits didn't transfer all the way, even though they told me before I enrolled that everything would be fine, it had transferred. I spoke to 3 counselors at TCC and ODU before I enrolled, and my specific question was, will all my credits transfer as they are on my transcript? Yes, everything will be just fine. You have our word. We have a written agreement. And then I get to the end of my first year. They're like, nah, these don't transfer. Who told you that? I'm like, all right, okay, cool. I see the scam going on. I see the grift happening right in front of my very eyes. All right. But if you like what you're hearing so far, I'll give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Now, there's still a lot happening with Nashville, and this situation is pretty crazy. I live in Tennessee. I'm not in the Nashville area. That's probably about 2.5 hours away. But I'm familiar with the area. Obviously, I've been out in Nashville quite a bit. I drive up there a lot. Beautiful area. Where this whole thing happened, it's a really nice area. It was a Christian school, about 200 students. It goes from K through 6. You had 3 children, 9 years old, all of them, and 3 adults between, I think, like 60, 61 years old, right around that age. 3 adults and 3 children that were killed by the shooter. Now, the shooter had 3 weapons. I think they had 2, had a carbine. I think they had 2 carbine rifles. They're calling them assault rifles, assault weapons, or whatever because they look scary, I suppose. And then they also had this person, the woman, the girl, the female, the lady, had a handgun, regular, everyday handgun. Now, she shot through the actual doors to get into the building. And then she went on a rampage. The officers get there and they rush right to the threat. First of all, as I said from the beginning, may all those who died rest in peace. Prayers out to their family. And also, shout out to the officers for going right to the threat. You know, we've seen other videos. I'll get to that in a minute, St. Andrew. We've seen other videos of mass shootings, and for some reason, they don't go right to the threat. I'm not here to judge. I don't know how all these things are supposed to actually happen. I don't know about all the training. All that I do know is that they went straight to the actual threat and ended it. Daniel Orr says 223 AR, 9mm carbine, and 9mm handgun. Okay, I got you. I thought it was a pistol. That was probably that I forget what they said that was. I know it was one that looked like a regular AR pistol, but that's probably the AR carbine rifle. And then the 9mm carbine looked like I forgot what they said that was. But yeah, I thought it was an actual pistol because it had 9mm chamber. But anyway, the officers went straight to the threat immediately and put her down. So shout out to the officers for doing that. Not wasting any time. They're hearing the gunshots. They're not trying to wait for backup and get shields. They're going right there, putting their lives on the line. Thank you, Ditley. Keltec. Yeah, Keltec Sub 2000. That was the other one. It looked kind of crazy. I'll put that on the screen in a minute. This right here was one of the weapons that the woman had. And you know what's crazy? Here's the Keltec. That's one of the guns right there. So I'm thinking that's chambered in 9mm. So you can get that 9mm or 40 cal. So wouldn't that be considered a pistol? It's folding pistol caliber carbine. So yeah, I figured that was a pistol. But anyway, you get it in 9mm 40 cal. But they went straight to the threat and ended it as they should. Now, the whole thing about the person being transgender obviously points toward mental health. The common denominator in all these shootings is the person has a mental health problem. And we all know that. Typically, the age of the shooter is 18 to 22, and they're young men who have, they're isolated, not a lot of friends, they feel dejected, they might have been bullied. It's always a pattern. It's always a pattern. And you know what? I saw this really crazy show on TV after Super Bowl game or the All-Star game, one of those. It was really crazy. And it was about a school shooting. And it chronicled what was happening before the shooting happened, what the parents were going through, what the dad was trying to do. The dad wound up trying to kill the boy, but couldn't do it. Couldn't really go to the police. He was trying to buy the boy off to send him out to Iceland somewhere. It was a mess. But I think the point of the show was to alert parents, hey, watch out for your kids and their behavior. The guns are not the problem. They're trying to pass red flag laws, which are going to be abused because all it's going to take is this. He beat me. He whooped me. He did a Jonathan Majors on me. He slapped me, but then say a day later, oh, I'm sorry, he ain't slapped me. He beat me. He slapped me. Okay. He's suicidal. All right. Take guns from him. And then now you're defenseless. You can't defend yourself. Now you can get attacked, kidnapped, or whatever. These laws will be abused. They've already been abused. Red flag laws. Trying to deny regular citizens access to their Second Amendment rights is not going to help with the crime problem in the country. People get triggered by these mass shooting events that get reported on because there are a bunch of other mass shootings that don't get reported on. Okay, if there's a party in the hood and 6 guys get shot, killed at once, who cares, right? Just some regular ghetto violence. But then when it comes to a school, it's your heartstrings, right? As little kids, and that's human nature. But again, I understand human nature. I'm not really trying to attack anybody. I'm just saying this is just what happens. This is the reality of our world. When we see things that tug at our heartstrings, I mean, look, I saw a picture of a little girl on a school bus like this with a hand on the window crying after the whole thing happened at the Nashville school. That will make you tear up a little bit. If you don't feel anything by seeing that picture, it's like, where's your heart at? However, we shouldn't make legislation based on how we feel, on our heartstrings, things of that nature. We got to base them on logic and what makes sense for our country going forward. It's simple. When you deny us access to our weapons, you're going to deny us access to self-protection. I showed a story earlier, the grandma in Houston protecting herself in the food truck from this armed robber, having to put him down, put him in the dirt. She didn't want to do it, but it's like, okay, now if the guy gets crazy and wants to kill the grandma, somebody's mom is gone, somebody's grandma is gone. You have a food truck providing good food for the community. That's gone now. So rather than that happen, then okay, I'll take your life. Home invasions all the time. You see videos where it'd be 4, 5, 6 guys committing a home invasion at one time, and there's one lady by herself with her rifle. A rifle is the best home defense, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's for me. Especially a 10-inch barrel, little short carbine is perfect. It's accurate, it's mobile, move around, perfect. 30-round mag, right on top. Right on top. Especially since you have guys that come in there with these 9mm handguns, fully extended, ready to shoot at whatever. Now, some are going to say, well, hey, ABL, you know what? If we just ban guns, then there would be no home invaders. Be serious. You got these young boys out here with Glocks, with a little switch on the back, the quote-unquote fun switch. You got these 15-year-olds with machine guns out here, and you are going to have no gun. So, I mean, come on. Southern border's wide open. What's coming across? Just poor migrants trying to find work? Be for real. Guns, drugs, whatever coming across. So if the criminals have guns and you don't, then what are we doing? You're going to be relying upon the state, and the state can't protect you. The state comes there after the damage has been done. After you'd have been shot or you done shot them. That's what they do. They're not your security or your bodyguard. You are your own security and bodyguard, unless you're one of these celebrities that says, hey, more gun control. Meanwhile, they got a bunch of armed guards outside. It reminds me of when the whole defund the police thing happened, right? They said that black people are too over-policed and we got to have fewer police in LA. And then remember, who was that? Was it Alyssa Milano or somebody? It was a little boy on her property for some reason with an airsoft rifle shooting squirrels. And as a result of seeing this boy with the airsoft rifle, she called the police, and the whole town's police came out. Ambulance, police cars, helicopters, all that. Oh, but defund the police, right? Only for them down off of the hill in the ghetto in LA among the roaches and rats. But us up here in the hills, we don't need such things. We don't require that. That's only going to be for them. That's how that whole thing goes. All right. So, yeah, gun control, gun laws are not going to protect you. They're not going to protect your children. All it's going to do is just make you and your kids more vulnerable. But I guess if there's a home invasion and the whole house dies, including your kids, who cares, right? Because it wasn't a school shooting. But I digress. Again, rest in peace to all those that died. But we got to do things, make our country more secure. And the best way to prevent school shootings, I would say, is 2 major things. First of all, better security. Not just armed guards, but also more technology. It's certain camera systems that will detect an active shooter, and it'll send help immediately, put the school in lockdown, have better security on the actual school first. Second, you got to have better mental health help. You got these kids that are showing obvious signs. You got to be able to intervene some kind of way. I mean, because trying to prevent guns, what's going to happen is these kids are going to find ways to get what they want. So, yeah, that's pretty much how I think about that. But if you like what you heard so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And a good question from Green Springs. Green Springs says, what about gun-free school zones exactly? Yeah, it doesn't really work too well, does it? It doesn't really work too well. All right. Super chats on deck. Then we're going to get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Thank you to Tom Hines for your donation. Thank you to Devin who says, I just got an ad telling me to thank Biden. Thumbs down, FJB. Thank you to Atomic Tabasco who says, greetings from Ultra Mega friends. Thank you to Judy Davis who says, I will not be anywhere else but here Wednesday and Saturday. Thank you for that. With the thumbs up emojis, 3 of them. Thank you to Nick Corio who says, hello, my beer friend with the beer emojis, 3 of those. Thank you to Michael Critchlow who says, there was an inmate escape at Newport News City Jail recently. The inmate took a tunnel and were later caught at an IHOP in Hampton. Oh my gosh. Not an IHOP, That's crazy. That is crazy. They couldn't go across the water. They still right there, right next door in Hampton. That's crazy. Wow. But a tunnel on Newport News, though, like, isn't that like right at sea level anyway? Think of Tucker Licious, who says ABL said Paula Bunyan. Hey, man, that's how it is nowadays. You go see Paul Bunyan with a whole wig on. It's crazy. Think it to Brent Armstrong, who says everybody's scared to get sued. If I decide I want to identify as a can of soup and you call me sir, I'm coming for them pockets, fam. Wouldn't do that to you, ABL, but them over there, hey, I don't know. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate you. Thank you to Josh, who says Houston Gmail, right on. Thank you to Leo Mazzina for being an ABL superstar. Thank you to Hail Mary, says #1 fan. Thank you for that. Thank you to Michael Critchlow, who says, have you heard about the possibility of a blockbuster comeback? The internet is on fire with speculation. Do you think they're getting into streaming, or is the company just trolling? They got to be trolling, because how are they really going to defeat Netflix? I don't understand. That was crazy to me. Blockbuster, if you know, you know. I was around during those Blockbuster years. Blockbuster was the move. Blockbuster was Netflix in person. You understand? Because you could be browsing on Netflix, right, trying to find a good movie. We were doing that in Blockbuster. If you were not around back then, man, Blockbuster was like the original Walmart to a certain extent. You go to Walmart on a Saturday night, and it's girls in there, you're trying to holler at girls in the Walmart. It was like that in the Blockbuster. I'm sure there's been plenty of marriages from Blockbuster encounters. I'll be in there all the time, browsing, looking at certain video games to play, certain movies to watch. I'll never forget. And I was like 14, 15, had my teeth in the back taken out, wisdom teeth taken out. And I was like, yeah, I want a kung fu movie to watch. So I watched like Drunken Master. You could get old movies, all kind of stuff in Blockbuster. That was, I miss Blockbuster. And then they had another one called Got It Video in Portsmouth, Virginia. I'm not sure if that was national. They had Got It Video, Hollywood Video eventually, Blockbuster. I miss those days. I really do. It's not the same. Browsing on Netflix is not the same as going to Blockbuster, seeing the art, seeing the actual covers on the art, reading the back of the thing, talking to people in there. Have you seen that movie? You have guys that was like movie buffs that would be in there every weekend or every day sometimes getting a brand new movie. Okay, it was like reading books. They would have 4 or 5 movies at once, and they would get them. You talk to the guy like that, he'd tell you everything about every movie. Have you seen? It's a great movie, man. Great plot. Those days are long gone. And then Redbox came along. Is Redbox still here? A DVD player? What's that? Back in the day, we had CD players in the car. First I had a tape player. One of my original cars, I had a tape player. I had a 96 RAV4, the first RAV4 that ever came out. My dad gave it to me when I was 16 in 2000. I had that. That was 2001. I had a cassette tape player, and then I went to Best Buy and got one of those CD players put in with the speakers. I didn't have no subwoofers or nothing like that, no big trunk rattling stuff, but I did have a little system in my car with a detachable faceplate. I'm getting nostalgic, so I'll digress. But I miss those days a lot. Today's day and age with the cell phones and the aux cord, the USB or the wireless, it ain't the same, man. Driving on the interstate with a book full of CDs, trying to pick the best one, the little visor of CDs on the top with your favorite 10 CDs. Then came the CD changer. Man, y'all don't know. Anyway, thank you to Brent Armstrong, who says, you see the new John Wick yet? Going this weekend. I'm going to see that very soon. I'll probably go this weekend. I'm definitely going to watch that. It's long, though, so I'll probably go by myself. Thank you to Freedom MMC, who says ABL with the accuracy. Thank you for that. Thank you to Daniel Orr, who says I'm a Virgo too. We got the same birthday. Oh, shout out to you, fellow Virgo. September 22nd. We are the best, and they know it. Thank you to Ed Ramsey, who says, have you seen the reaction of the media when asked about this terrorist attack on Christians in Nashville? One thing I almost forgot to mention is that I was watching them struggle with the whole she, her, they, them. Hold on 1 second before we get to the calls. Here's what I'm talking about right here.
How did you know her?
So here's Don Lemon. Now, I'm going to do a video about this. So I'm going to play the whole thing and get through it. But watch this beginning part where the whole misgendering thing comes into play.
How did you know her? And listen, let me ask you this before, because there's this whole idea about how he or she identified. And police have been saying one thing. We have not confirmed. Did you know her well?
I mean, he's going to get into this whole thing about gendering and all this, talking about he or she, all this and that. Look, how about these pronouns? Was, were. Was, were. That's the proper pronouns right there. I don't care nothing about that, man. Like, why should I pay them respect, quote unquote, by honoring their pronouns? So what? You dead and you earned your death. Was, were. Worm food. How about that? Why should that even be an issue? Oh, you misgendered him. Oh, I don't care. He, she, them, theirs, dead. How about that? But I'm getting triggered, so I digress. Thank you to CSI who says Hastings. And thank you to Nick Corrio who says, since when do people pick up girls at Walmart? Oh man, you had to be there, man. I've done that. Walmart was like the club at one point. Guys would go to Walmart just to pick up girls. I don't know, maybe it's different where I was at in Virginia, but that was a spot. That was yeah, Club Walmart. for sure. I'm not sure about nowadays. I mean, don't nobody really go nowhere no more. I don't know. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. It's time for the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Do not be afraid to call. There's also an email to get in through Skype to be right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Please do not call acting the fool, drunk as a skunk. That's not the wave at all. All righty. Let's get rocking and rolling. Yeah, I don't care about your pronouns. Was, were. That's your pronouns now because you did. That's how we're going to do that. All right, here we go. All right, Les, what's happening?
Hey ABL, how are you?
It's all good. About yourself?
Good. How about oh, I'm so sorry. I'm caught up here. Good, ABL. Thank you for asking.
Oh, it's all good.
I'm sorry that comment you made about the Walmart thing. I was like, wait, what? The Walmart thing? Because nowadays women talk about meeting men in Home Depot, so that stood in my mind. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
So I wanted just to give a quick comment on the Houston grandma.
Yes.
This is why our Second Amendment is valuable, and it is the one thing that every single American should always exercise, because you never know.
Exactly. You never know, because everything could be just fine because they were there for 3 years, no problems with crime. All of a sudden, one day, things went bad, and she was ready, and he wasn't.
Exactly. And now I want to actually go from that, and I want to now transition very swiftly into what happened in Tennessee with the school shooter. So again, this is why our Second Amendment is very important. I believe, honestly, in my opinion, that every single school should be armed.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
If our Second Amendment, I mean, our founding fathers knew what they were doing with our Constitution, and especially with the Second Amendment. And that's just a perfect example. Like, honestly, ABL, it's true. Like, if we're going to be training staff, that should be a part of the training, meaning that every single staff member should be armed, or at least half, right? So in case of these situations, we have those trained staff members, and these kind of situations can be now met with deadly force. So it's heartbreaking. And what really upsetted me the most, and I know a lot of Americans felt this way, ABL, was Biden's whole response to it, how he was joking around like ice cream. Like, honestly, dude, like, you're going to come before you make a formal speech about this heartbreak. In reality, it's horrible, and you're going to joke about ice cream before you get to the like before you get to like in reality the heartbreak of what America's mourning.
Yeah, that was really crazy because I was watching that live. I was watching Fox, and then they cut away to go to him talking about the shooting, and then they said something about chocolate ice cream and the kids in the crowd. I'm like, what is going on? I was shocked.
It was crazy, and then I don't know who was the lady who was speaking before Joe Biden came to the stand, because I know she was saying she's the one who basically presented, brought him into the stage and stuff like that. But she was too. She was very joking around, laughing and giggling. It's kind of like, well, where's the respect? Like, do you not just did you guys not just hear the memo, or you guys are not really taking it seriously? Because we have lives that were lost. Like, these are not, moments where we should be having fun and joking around, even giggling, to be honest with you, especially when you're about to address the nation. I found that very disrespectful. But again, this goes to show ABL, the to the American people, to us, we the people, just where their mind lies, where their loyalty lies. And I'm going to tell you this right now, and everybody knows, the majority of the majority of this country knows, especially your viewers, ABL, that America's always last. This administration does not give two you know what about us, and it's the honest truth. You could tell it. We all saw it just on their behavior displayed on television. I found that disgusting. But that's all I wanted to go ahead and comment. Thank you so much. It was such a wonderful show. God bless you. We'll see you soon. Everybody in the chat as well, God bless. And the little patriots want to say good night.
Good night, y'all. Thank y'all.
Bye, Via.
All right, great call as always. And you guys are doing a fantastic job in the chat. The number to call 434-658-1220. 518, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. My name's Norm. I'm from upstate New York.
All righty. What's happening?
How you doing? I spoke to you in 2019, right before Trump gave General Soleimani a missile sandwich. I haven't spoken to you since.
All righty. Well, glad you're back.
Yeah. I agree with you on about maybe like 95% of the stuff that you talk about. But there is one topic that I wanted to discuss that I've done quite a bit of research on, specifically acid rain and the Adirondack Park.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Just gotta get my talking points together. Okay. So specifically, acid rain is sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide. And the Adirondack Park is about almost half the size of New York State, which includes New York City and Long Island. So it's about 6 million acres of property. And it's been affected by acid rain since the late 70s. So basically what happened is in 1960, in the Midwest, they had a problem with local pollution. Then they built these gigantic smokestacks that were between 70 to 80 stories tall. And then what happened was the pollution traveled northeast, and it got trapped in the Adirondacks because of the mountains, because of the mountain ranges. And the Adirondack Park has about 3,000 lakes, 8,000 ponds, about 1,500 miles of rivers fed by approximately like 30,000 miles of brooks and streams. So 700 Adirondack bodies of water were completely dead, devoid of like all life. Like it killed all the reptiles, it killed all the amphibians, all the bugs, all the algae, all the bacteria. And then it took about 25 to 30 years for those areas to recover. So specifically, it happened. So, I just wanted to offer some facts about that.
Okay. Well, I thank you for that.
Yeah, and then, the main reason why it changed is because there was a Clean Water Act in the 1990s, and it was, it banned a lot of the pollution that was coming over from the Ohio, the central, Ohio Valley region. And it had a lot to do with also some of the areas in Chicago and Detroit because of the car manufacturers. And
Right.
so most of those lakes have cleaned up, they've changed, but they've never really fully recovered. And the problem with that is that they are just not able to fully recover because they just don't have the ability that they did when they originally before the pollution came over. So, you know, I just I definitely don't believe in anything that Al Gore ever said. I don't believe in anything that what's her name?
Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, Thunberg. But I just wanted to specifically talk about, acid rain specifically and the Adirondacks and give a little bit of just facts on what took place, and that's really about it.
Well, thank you for the call, man. I appreciate you.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, shout out to the caller. And let's go to 615 hit online. Who am I speaking to?
What's going on, ABL? It's Boomhauer, man. How you doing?
It's all good, man. Can't complain.
Man, dude, I'm here in Nashville, and I knew one of these days it was gonna happen. I knew it was coming, but when it happens, it like catches you off guard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to say that we are, and I'm not gonna cuss, but we are mad. I'm talking about mad too, dog. Like, as many people that I know, people are upset. People are mad that this is what went down here. And I knew it was gonna happen one day, man. But the fact that it happened the way that it did, and the fact that they're trying to cover it up, and man, I'll tell you what. Go ahead, misgender somebody. You do it right. Do it tonight. Misgender somebody. Watch what happens to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But no, that's all they've been doing is misgendering this fool. This piece, I don't care, dude. Piece of trash. Piece of straight up street trash is what it is. I don't care nothing about it. I ain't finna play into the little mind games and all the mental disability. It is a disability. And if you ask me, all they keep saying is, "Oh, she bought 7 guns." Oh, she? Well, I thought it was a he. Y'all said it was a dude. Oh, now it's a girl now. Okay. But, okay, back to it. She bought 7 guns legally. If you ask me, she bought 7 guns illegally. Shout out Hunter Biden, because she has a mental disorder. She's going to a doctor for a mental disease. She has gender dysphoria. That is a mental disease. You ain't got no business, in my opinion, you ain't got no business buying no gun with a mental disease. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yep.
Do you agree with me on that?
I'm with you for sure.
Yeah. So you buying guns, 7 of them, with a mental disease, and that is not legal. Shout out, like I said, shout out Hunter Biden, buying guns as a crackhead, straight up a buck naked with a gun in your hand with crack on the other side of the plate, on TV, on your little laptop, whatever it is. It's garbage, man. And I'm hot because, look, man, I'm going to just say it straight up. My wife works in the school, and at a certain point in time, she's the person that is there that helps the ladies in the front go on lunch break, right? So my wife works there, man. She actually had told me that she has a panic button that she can hit, and she has another button that she can hit that if anybody comes in that front door, she can lock them into a glass box. And she hits it, and they can automatically lock that shooter in there, and that fool ain't going nowhere. But watching that video, man, that fool, that piece of trash, shot through that glass and walked in that school like it was nothing, man. And that's my wife, dude. You know what I'm saying? One of these days, dude, it better not ever happen, man. I'm just telling you, man. Because this town that I live in is nothing but, we're red everywhere. Everything in this town, we're all red, man. And we ain't here to stand for this crap, man. We ain't got no time for this LBGT garbage. We ain't got time for this mental disease. It's a mental disorder that they need to get a hold of. They're sitting there talking about, if you would have, and it makes me mad, dude, if you would have stopped worrying about books and blocking books from coming into the school, then you could have banned the pistols, and she never would have made it in there with no guns if you would have stopped them AR-15s, blah, blah, blah. Dude, it is a mental disease. Let's get that straight. That's what it is. These people need help. I want to talk to the daddy. Shout out to my homeboy, Jeremy Finley, by the way, for doxing the crap out of them. That dude threw that address out there, I don't know how many times. Shout out Jeremy Finley, Channel 4 News, homeboy, because he threw them out there, dude. And that address got blasted everywhere. That's the only way Candace Owens was able to find out where that girl even lived and who even lived in that house. He was doxing the crap out of them fools. Why is there a 28-year-old woman still living at home with their mom and daddy, dude? Can you answer me that?
I can't.
I know I'm going in. I know I'm going long. But dude, this is bothering me. This is bothering my community, dude. I've lived here my entire life, and this is garbage, dude. It's a mental disorder. That mama and daddy should have handled that business. Get out of here. You are a straight up graduate from college. I don't care nothing about what college you went to. I don't give a damn nothing about what kind of indoctrination you went to. 28 years old, get out of my house. Get out of my basement. Hey, daddy, why aren't you paying attention to what's in this kid's room? How's this girl, your daughter, that wants to be a dude, has 7 guns in your house and you don't know nothing about it? Come on, man. Come on, dog. Hey, man, I'm going to end it with this. Shout out Metro Police. Shout out to Rex. Shout out, dude, because I'm going to tell you right now, there's like a silent thing that we have in this town. Do not mess with Metro PD, homeboy, because they will get you. We know this. It's like a silent. We all know this. We don't tread on none of that. Metro will get you know what. And that dude was on time. Shout out to him, man. Prayers to the family. Rest in peace to those little babies, man. They had to step over. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Metro PD, man, for real. And we got to do something about ABL. Sorry I went so long, but thank you so much for letting me talk, man. It really made me feel good that you let me get this out. I've been wanting to get this out for days. Thank you so much, ABL.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right, man. See you.
Man, that was heavy. That was heavy. But I felt everything. That came straight from the heart, man. I felt it. Wow. I don't got no more to say, man. Y'all already know. Y'all pretty much y'all got it. 954 on line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, this is Jonathan.
All right, man. What's going on?
How you doing, man?
It's all good.
I got a couple of real quick things. I hate to follow up Boomhauer, man. That was tearing at my heartstrings.
Yeah.
A couple of quick things to lighten it up, maybe a little bit. First of all, I really appreciate you shouting out the Candy Stripe community, man. I identify as a Candy Striper, man, and that really makes me feel good when you say black, white, Puerto Rican Candy Stripe, man.
There you go.
I mean, you're the only one. You're the only one doing it.
Right on.
And then Saturday night, was Ivan telling everybody that he's a better economist than Thomas Sowell?
I believe he was.
I mean, that's what I heard. He was saying, Thomas Sowell's got all these degrees and stuff, but that don't make him right. And then he went on to tell everybody how he was right. That's been bothering me since Saturday. Just silliness. But I'm a retired police officer. Did over 20 years in South Florida, and I heard you talking earlier about police training on active shooters.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe I could shed a little light on that.
Okay.
When I first started, you remember Columbine was I don't want to say the guys' names, but it was two dudes in the school, and they were in there for a long time, and they had booby traps that they set. And the police response at the time was, if you can't see the shooter, don't engage. Right? That was what we were trained. Hold them, keep them barricaded, and call for special response team and wait for them. But and the problem with that was, SWAT, special response, whatever it's called, depending on the agency. It's going to take them an hour at least to get out there. So, but that was what we were trained. I don't know if you remember Columbine, but it was all the officers are outside, and they had all the kids coming out with their hands up, calling the kids outside the school. So that didn't work too well. And then my department, I don't know how many other departments did this, but we went to something called RED training, which is rapid entry deployment. A little bit of a misnomer. You respond to the shooting, and then you wait for 3 other officers to get with you, and you form a diamond. So there's preferably a guy with a long rifle on the front, on the point, and then he's got people on his right and left shoulder, and then a person behind them as a rear guard. And we were trained to move through a school or a shopping mall or whatever the building was, move through it really methodically, and you don't pass any openings. You have to search every room, search every door. Don't leave unknown stuff behind you, because again, with Columbine, there was more than one shooter and there was booby traps. So we don't want to pass anything that's possibly going to injure us, or we get shot in the back or whatever. That all went out the door maybe around 10 years ago. And now that they're trained, which it's crazy that Uvalde wasn't doing this, because we were doing this like 10 years ago. It's called force on force, and that's what Nashville PD did. And you see how effective that is. You don't wait for backup. First officer there, you run to the sound of gunfire, and you neutralize the threat immediately. Because every time you hear a gunshot, that's someone's life potentially being lost. And Nashville PD just showed how effective that was. And like Boomhauer was saying, shout out to those guys. Those officers are heroes, 100%. And like I said, I was from South Florida. The Parkland shooting was Broward County. The Broward County's Sheriff's Department, the deputies, they did what Uvalde did. They held outside. They weren't doing anything. There's a city called Coral Springs that's in Broward County that is just south of Parkland. They responded because they are trained force on force. They ran past the sheriff's deputies, went in the school trying to find the shooter. The shooter was gone at that point. Coral Springs Police Department found him down the street and took him into custody, while Broward Sheriff's was still holding positions outside the school. But every department in the country needs to get force on force, attack the sound of gunfire, neutralize a threat, and save lives. And Nashville PD needs to be commended. Every officer, not just those 2 that they're naming, every officer on that scene is a hero.
Absolutely. Right on.
I appreciate ABL. Keep shouting out my candy stripe community. Keep representing for us. And hey, man, there's some bad weather coming up this weekend. Be safe, man.
Oh, definitely will, man. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Peace.
All right, shout out to the caller. Very informative, good calls, great calls tonight. You guys have been amazing. 904, you're online. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, my name is Nikki, ABL, longtime fan. I do have a question about the upcoming election. You have said in the past that it's kind of a waste of a vote to vote for a third party. And as much as I agree with you, I'm wondering if there's going to be an emergence of a third party that is strong. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that, or if it has been and always will be like a waste of time. And that's all I got.
Oh, well, thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Okay, yeah, to answer his question, there are more than 2 parties in the country. I know he knows that, but I just need to just say that to give my answer. There are more than 2 parties in the country. The problem is that most people are not really going to be able to pick between more than 2 parties. And the money is concentrated within the 2 parties, Republican, Democrat. The problem is not that there are not enough parties. The problem is that the 2 parties we have are starting to merge on the federal level. That's the problem. Not that it's we don't need a third party. We need to actually have 2 parties on a federal level. State level, much different. 773 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, it's your retired Chicago police officer friend. How you doing?
Everything's all right. About yourself?
Good. That other retired officer pretty much covered the whole thing about how they treat deadly threats in schools nowadays. Yeah, now we go to the threat. I was trained like that too, where you had the 4-point diamond to clear the school from room to room, and now you go towards the threat. You go towards the gunshots in order to ultimately save lives as quickly as possible. So, but I wanted to mention something else, ABL, and I found this in my experience too. A lot of transgendered people, I'm sure, are depressed because it's a depressing thing when you feel like you're not the same, sex that you were born with, this dysmorphia that they have. And many of them, because of that depression, are on these antipsychotic drugs. In my experience, and I just wanted to mention that for this shooter, but in many of these instances, ABL, the guy that did the shooting in Las Vegas from the hotel, these other people that do these mass shootings, ultimately, we found that many of them were on these psychotropic drugs, Xanax, lithium, all these psychotropic drugs. And here's the thing, ABL, when you see these commercials on the news, and it says that if you have thoughts of suicide, contact your doctor. For them to even give that statement, if you have thoughts of suicide, is an admission that some people, when they take this drug, it's a mood-altering drug. They're hoping it makes you less depressed. With most people, you are less depressed under those drugs. But there is enough people to react to that drug with suicidal thoughts, and some that commit suicide. And I don't think it's that far of a throw to say with suicidal thoughts, there are also homicidal thoughts, which is why you have these mass shootings. My life is messed up. You take these drugs, and in your mind, I'm going to do away with myself. But before I do, I am going to take as many people with me as I can. I am going to get on a soapbox and figure out what bothers me, and I'm going to make that my manifesto to go and slaughter all these people. And many of it, this is just my opinion, these psychotropic drugs are dangerous because they are mind-altering drugs. They are drugs that change your mood. And no matter what doctors say, they don't know exactly what that drug is going to do to your mind. They already know that it makes people have suicidal thoughts, or they would have never brought that into the commercial. They would never admit the suicidal thoughts, but it's so much, it's like a recall on a car. We've had so many problems with the water pump on this car that we have to admit that it's a huge problem. They've had so many suicides with people taking these psychotropic drugs that they have to admit it in the ad of their commercial as a side effect. And that's my contention about that, ABL, is that we better look at some of these drugs. So it's not really a gun issue because there's so many guns out there and people have guns and never use guns. Most policemen have never shot at anything other than a paper target. But we have a gun on ourselves because of those incidences when we do need it to save lives or save our own life. So, most people don't go on a rampage, but some do under those drugs. We need to look at that. That's my 2 cents, ABL, and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Fantastic call. And he's right on point about those drugs, because what he said, that was a really good point. These drugs say they have a side effect, possible suicidal thoughts. Why can't they say homicidal thoughts? If you might want to kill yourself, wouldn't it be logical to say you might want to kill somebody else too? But they can't say something like that on TV. They can't really put that out there. They say, Suicidal thoughts, but you won't want to hurt anybody else. Oh, okay, sure. 504, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's Alien Spaceship.
All right, man, what's happening?
Yeah, I want to say, a shout out to the, recent callers and Boomhauer and them for talking about the recent shooting. Yeah, I think it's, terrible what's going on with these transgender people. And I do agree with the Chicago cop about the medicines. It can definitely alter people's minds. And they already have a problem to begin with the gender dysphoria.
Oh, absolutely. That's definitely an issue.
Right. And also, I remember in the Weimar Republic of Germany, this was before Hitler, that's where a lot of the transgender stuff started.
Yeah.
Right. And basically, I think it's definitely, gone too far in America. And I think it's terrible also how they do all these perverted things in front of children. Because I saw they're twerking in front of them and stuff. And I don't know why people have and the politicians and people are going along with this. And
yeah, I'm not really sure why either, but it's pretty crazy.
Right. So I know it has to do with the cultural Marxists destabilizing America and destroying our culture and whatnot. And I definitely think, it's good for people to have guns because the criminals are going to have them anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And also, I was trying to call in last time, but the Skype wasn't working. But I want to, I think with Ye, I think he definitely was trolling that time because the way he was saying he liked Hitler, he looked like he was trying to incite people. What do you think?
I don't really know. At this point, he said so much. I'm not even really sure kind of what's going on. So I have no idea. He might have been serious,
Right.
might not have been serious. It could kind of go either way.
Right. Because I know people think that, a lot of people have said that he's kind of unstable. And I do agree that there could be a financial reason why he all of a sudden switched around because of his shoe brand.
Yeah, that definitely could be it for sure.
Yes. And also, because I think there's a lot of, chaos going on with the country in general. And it's good that we are exposing it and whatnot. And what I do is I'm growing, my own garden, as I've said, to other people in the chat. And I have my turnips growing and they're doing well.
Sounds good to me.
Right. And also, with all of the different things you're talking about, very good information. And that's all I have to say for this call. Thank you.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Goodbye.
All right. Shout out to my man for calling. Let's get some more here. 470, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony. Hey, it's Greg from Wild and Wacky Atlanta. How are you doing, sir?
Everything's all right. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Here's the sound of Atlanta.
We are and whatnot. And what I do is I'm going
another typical day. You know how it goes.
Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah, well, a lot of wild and wacky things are going on here in Atlanta and also other places in the world. Yeah, it's really tragic about that Nashville shooting, man. That transsexual shooting up the school. Tucker Carlson did a piece on this, I think it was last night, where it said that, this is a war against Christianity, basically. From what I gather, from what he said.
Yeah, I mean,
because
it could be. Go ahead.
Yeah, this woman, 20-year-old woman, grew up in a family that was very strict Christianity, very strict Christian family. And she went back to that school where she went to and targeted these people because they were Christians. Because Christianity does not accept her transsexual lifestyle. So they must be punished in her mind. So yeah, this is a mental illness, definitely. No doubt about it. And she should not have been allowed to buy 7, firearms with a mental illness like this. This is sick.
Right.
Yeah, so it's crazy. I actually work with a transsexual, and one of the armed guards at the retail store where I work, actually called one of our transsexual, coworkers, sir, and he got really pissed. He said, "It's ma'am," and it was World War II all over again. It's a good thing he had a firearm, but it made me think after this attack just 2 days ago. What if this person freaks out one day and decides they're going to shoot us?
You know what? That's a good question, because you already know the person has the mental issue, and they say, you know what, I'm tired of being misgendered. Like we've seen people freak out in the store, ready to fight over that. So if somebody's crazy, that can really set them off.
Oh yeah, Brian. I think it was like May or June of last year. We had two guys fighting over a gun out in the parking lot. Because there's a little strip place or whatever next door. And these two guys got into a fight, and one guy was trying to get the gun for the other guy. And they had like three police officers, one police officer and two security guards, drawing their guns. I backed up about 15 feet. I didn't want to be anywhere near that scene.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, you don't want to be anywhere near that.
It's getting crazy. That's why I call it wild and wacky Atlanta. Since the summer of, since those stupid George Floyd riots back in the spring, early summer of 2020, it's getting really crazy here in Atlanta. We had 300 cops, drop out of the police force in July 2020, all at one time, instantly, bam, 300 cops gone. That made violence and crime go up immensely.
Oh yeah, of course, because there's not enough officers really to go around, so it's going to be a lot of problems.
Yeah, it's just insane. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. And, hey, one more thing. Crazy Joe wants to say something to you. Hang on 1 second.
So you may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head.
You remember that speech?
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
That was a famous chorus pop speech. So anyway, you take care, man. Be safe, and don't let your fame and fortune go to your head.
Right on, man. Thank you for your call. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Bye.
Yeah, that whole Corn Pop speech was crazy. Corn Pop was a bad dude. That had to have been the craziest speech I ever heard in my life. It's like, Corn Pop, who is that? And somebody came out recently trying to like defend the whole Corn Pop speech. Yeah, Corn Pop was a real guy. It's like, man, if you don't stop, please stop. Like, nobody's really trying to hear that whole thing about Corn Pop. This is not really what's going on. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Corn Pop. Yeah, it's totally crazy. All right. I'm reading some of the comments here. Yeah, they're going to do a lot of studying about that particular shooter for quite a while. 443 to line, I'm speaking to.
Hey, ABL, this is L from Baltimore, unfortunately.
All righty, what's going on?
Hey, I just wanted to talk about Biden's response to the Nashville shooting victims.
Yes.
His response was, I was just absolutely appalled. I was so disgusted at the fact that the people in the audience, they laughed at his joke. They were so crazy. Like, how do you listen to that response and gauge the situation and connect that together and say, okay, that's okay to say. That's okay for us to process. Like, I really think that the people who voted for Biden and who continue to vote for Biden are just brain dead.
Yeah.
I understand.
Go ahead.
Oh, what were you saying?
I was agreeing with you, but go ahead.
Yeah. And I really understand using humor to cut tension. I'm not a confrontational person. I like to keep the peace. But that wasn't the time. The joke went on way too long, but it wasn't as long as a joke as his presidency. People who continue to support them, like I said, I don't have any remorse for. In their eyes, as long as Trump's not president, they don't care. Whoever voted for him, they deserve all the inflation, the high gas prices, the Ukraine money drain, all of his life alert falls. I'm still counting them, his dementia gaffes, and the embarrassment on the entire world stage. If Trump did it, they would call for his resignation.
Oh, that's right. Right on point. You're absolutely correct.
Yes. And when we continue to have a blind eye and no common sense, this is what you get. I don't understand how. Well, I do understand. We all understand. We have all this talk about war. We have economic instability, and this is supposed to be the most popular president in history.
Yeah, I don't see
he
how.
Yeah, and he just does what he's told to. He doesn't have a mind of his own. There's somebody behind the scenes, just telling him what to do, pulling the strings, and he just goes up there, blabbers on with nothing inside of his skull, and everybody just accepts it. He doesn't care about us at all. When I see him, I think about Afghanistan. I think about his failure in East Palestine, which he has never addressed publicly. I think about Shanquella Robinson, who was the black woman close to my age, who was killed in Mexico by her friends. And her family's attorneys have been trying their hardest to get the president and Kamala to pay attention to her story, and they're just not using their power to make a change. But just like how Trump was able to help that basketball player in trying to get out of jail free card and come back home for stealing and trying to, even though he broke the law there, why can't Biden use his platform to help them? I think about him trying to ban our gas stoves, the vaccine mandates, how he handled Brittany Griner's situation. Sure, let's help the LGBTQ plus basketball player for brownie points, but not help the Marine that's still stuck in Russia. His Second and First Amendment restrictions. Everybody who voted for Biden, you got what you voted for. You reaped what you sow. I really want to see a reaction of the victims' family faces, and I truly feel sorry for them. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks again.
Yeah, very good call. A lot of good points are made there for sure. 208, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, thanks for taking the call. Great show tonight. A lot of interesting people with good comments. This is a mess down in Nashville. I used to live in that area. But it's not just Nashville. It's all over the United States of America. And, I'll tell you where this problem started at. It started years ago in our colleges. The far left have taken over the colleges. They've indoctrinated the college kids. Now they're after K through 12. I'll give you, for instance, where we're at. I just had an incident a couple weeks back with a transgender student. There was a young lady in a restroom stall. She came out of the stall, was washing her hands. The transgender student, now this is a biological male, dressed as a biological male, comes out, smirks at her, grins, and walks out the door. Well, this young lady happened to be a former victim of sexual assault. So, of course, it sent her into a tizzy. She goes through the proper channels. They do nothing. Her mother gets involved. There's some viral videos of the interview out there. But we have a superintendent in our school district that is led like a ring in the nose by this woke agenda that's going on through these schools. We have guidelines in place to prevent this. He refuses to follow the guidelines. So it's very, very frustrating to watch the majority of our children have to go through this because of a handful of people. And a lot of the problem is with the reporting, the mainstream news. For instance, this was covered up here extensively by our local paper, local TV crews. But ironically, the part that they left out is this biological male was dressed as a biological male. It wasn't like he had a skirt and makeup on. He was dressed as a skater dude. But it's little things like that the public gets tidbits of the truth, but they don't get the full story.
Of course.
So the mainstream media is as big a problem as this woke agenda that's going on. And for me personally, if you want to have that lifestyle, that's entirely up to you. But don't tell me I have to agree with it and I have to support it, because biblically speaking, I don't agree with it. And they're indoctrinating our children that they have to. You can't have an opinion. If you disagree, you're automatically labeled a hater and you're shunned.
Right.
So, this does not surprise me. There is an attack on Christianity in this country, and it starts at the top with, look what we got for a president, for God's sakes. I know nobody goes into power that the good Lord don't want to put in there, but I can't help but think if he's maybe chuckling a little bit looking down at this. I mean, I've never seen such a mess in my lifetime.
I'm right there with you. I agree.
But I thought we need more shows like yours, because honestly, until American people wake up and actually get involved in their communities, and it's got to start at the school level. People need to start forming groups and start going to these school board meetings, start standing up and telling them we don't agree with this. Slash their budgets. Start getting people elected to the school boards that's not going to back this woke agenda. I've been doing research for the last week and stumbled across a fact. Since 2014 in the United States of America, since 2014, the cost of school funding has risen between 80 and 86% nationwide. And you know why? Because of this woke agenda that they're indoctrinating our students with. So we're the taxpayers, we're paying for it, and nobody's standing up and questioning why.
Exactly.
So, well, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to, hopefully that reaches someone that's wondering what to do. I hope that helps. That's my opinion on things. And, I guess my parting words will be, for those of you concerned, stop being a couch potato patriot. Get up off the couch, get involved in your community, and fight back against it.
Absolutely, man. Right on. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks to you. Great call. Shout out to the caller. A lot of great calls tonight. You guys are fantastic. If you enjoy what you're hearing thus far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. 775 here on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's Alex from Reno again.
All righty, what's happening?
Nothing much. I gotta say, these past 2 days have been insane. I'm gonna start off right now because I'm not sure if you heard, but Madonna is apparently going to do a tour and start in Nashville to raise charity money, but for the LGBT plus community. It's insane to hear such thing, because she's basically, and all the other left-leaning outlets like The View and all that are supporting the shooter when there's 3 kids that were killed and 3 faculty members. It's insane to hear such a thing going on right now. It's being praised while any other case is demonized in the past, but now this year alone, it's praised. I can't believe it's going on.
Yeah, I think I've seen that where they're talking about, you can only back somebody in the corner for so long until they bite. It's like, is that what we're going to say? We're going to try to get this person sympathy? I mean, ultimately, they killed a bunch of innocent people. So regardless of what they may face in society, it's nothing compared to people that have lost their lives that didn't do anything to anyone. So it's crazy to hear that, but I can't say I'm surprised, unfortunately.
No, but what is surprising, because I called you sometime last week, and I mentioned how about this nation's going to implode if Trump's not reelected. Well, I actually feel like it's going to really kick off this summer when it's going to warm up, people are going to protest, and you got all these legislations in different states banning these surgeries for kids under 18 with that they're not allowed to have they're not allowed to have surgery without the parents' consent, but they have to be of age of 18 to get these surgeries, because you can apply for the service at 18, but you can't drink alcohol until 21, which is weird and retarded because legislation and all that's like in control right now. But I also want to comment that there are some schools that are armed. I think Colin Noir did a coverage on it, but that was a while back ago. I'd like to say sometime last year in fall or summer. But he mentioned that there are schools out there that are armed, the teachers are armed, and the students even know that they're armed and they feel safe with the teachers being armed. So there are a few schools. I don't know how many there are, but there are some out there, which is great. And shout out to the retired policemen that have been here on these calls. I have high respect for their level that they put their lives on the line. And again, we need people like that. And what's interesting, I was also watching Tim Pool's podcast, and he has a guest on there, and they actually got in a heated argument about the police. Tim believes that police should uphold the law and the Constitution, while his guest, forgot his name, said that no, police are to follow orders from the court level. It overrides the Constitution. But he kept saying that we both agree that that outcome should be the same, but police are there to follow orders. And Tim's going, no, they need to uphold the law and the Constitution. If they don't, they're out, because we can't have corrupt police when they're arresting people that stand up against Black Lives Matter and Antifa, when people are brandishing their own guns in their own home, but the police arrest them so they don't have to be attacked by Antifa. That's insane. We need people with the heart and the spine to stand up to the corruption that we have in this nation. And we're not really seeing it, but I have a feeling now, because of this Nashville shooting, we're going to be seeing all this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I hear you 100%.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I do believe that mental illness does play a factor in some of these shootings, and if medication is the causing factor or helping this cause, then that also needs to be addressed. But yeah, I just want to comment on that. Good episode and all that. So thank you.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you. All right. Good caller. Great caller. All right. Call line speaker to 757.
I knew that was going to happen. Good evening, Mr. Logan. Chesapeake Bob here.
All right, man. What's happening?
I was just walking in the kitchen to get me a soda. I wasn't going to call in tonight, but you'll read a super chat here shortly. But it's been an interesting exercise. I'll type something in the chat, and shout out to Anthony McQuaid, because he was helping me test this. That says something like, when they were talking about all the psychedelic drugs, I think the Chicago Police Department was talking about that. So okay. I'll type something snidely in the chat that says, brought to you by Pfizer. Thanks for the money. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it in your chat, and it will not appear in your chat. The other people in the regular chat can see it, but you cannot. If I put it in a super chat, which you'll read in a minute, you'll see that it does appear. So tonight we did a couple of tests. I found out that if I say anything negative about a drug company, it gets screened.
Okay.
If I say anything about the teachers union, it gets screened. I was just like, okay, this is going to be a learning session, so I just got to write down all the stuff I can't say. But I just wanted to call and let you know that, yeah, Big Brother's watching.
I see.
And also I wanted to shout out to Boom Boom. I said, my heart goes out to him and all the people in Nashville.
Absolutely. 100%.
All right, sir. Well, I'll be hanging on the side, and I appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah, it's interesting how that whole thing works with the live chat and all that good stuff. But I think when you watch the replay on YouTube, you can also replay the live chat on YouTube itself. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the same thing as a chat that's right here on the actual screen, the hard chat. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same or not. We'll see. Now, if it is, then that'd be interesting why the heart chat right here on the screen would be different than the live replay, which you could see anyway. Maybe they could turn that off when they need to. I don't really know. Maybe they don't want certain things to be on screen next to an ad. I have no idea. It's weird. But as long as we're able to communicate, that's I could take solace in that, I suppose. All righty, Skype caller, who am I speaking to?
Oh, hey, hello?
Yes.
Oh, hey, ABL, it's Danny from UK. How you doing?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Yeah, it's all good, man. Thanks again for taking my call, mate.
And no problem.
Yeah, I just want to say, first off, rest in peace to the lives lost in that school shooting, man. Such a tragedy. The first thing I think about when I hear about these situations is, how many more times do these things have to happen before we actually start getting armed security in these schools, man?
Yeah, that's definitely really important. Armed security, and also some of the technology that can detect school shooters. Just overall better security is needed for sure.
Yeah, and obviously, look, I live in the UK. I know, some people might say, well, you don't, you can't have an opinion on this because you don't live in the US, and I understand, but I'm just sick to death with hearing these people on the left to say, it's the guns' fault. They're the problem. We need to, get rid of them, and acting like they care about, the lives that are lost, and acting like they care about people's well-being. It's all about control. It's not about gun control. It's not about guns. It's all about control. That's all it ever is with these people in power, man. It's just they'll do anything to take rights away from you and to control you to the best of their ability. And it's just a goddamn shame, man. It really is, like seeing these situations and look, I sometimes think, there must be tons of war veterans out there who are homeless, who maybe haven't got a hard life right now, and they would do an excellent job in a school because they're trained, right? They've been in the war, they're veterans. What would they should be given a job as a school security guard or something like that. I mean, does that make sense, or is that, I don't know if that
that makes sense for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like I think they should be given a job like that. Give all these veterans a job. Give them a security job in these schools to protect the children and the teachers, and it's also a deterrent. I mean, I think you're less likely I know these shooters are extremely mentally unstable, but I think they will think twice. Like, okay, look, this school has armed security. I'm probably not going to go there because they'll most likely be shot on the spot, and they won't. You need a deterrent of some sort. You can't just have, just these children in the schools, these teachers who have no, weaponry of any kind. I mean, it's just such a shame, ABL, man. It really is.
Absolutely.
And so this so I'll be really quick on the. So I just wanted to give my take on. I know it was a couple shows ago, but the whole sort of drag shows, and obviously the parents bringing their children around to the drag shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a protest over here not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and it was to do with this pub, this Crystal Palace pub, where they rented out a drag show, and obviously the parents, the drag people, the show was like, yeah, bring your kids down and everything like that, and there was a protest from, I think. I can't remember what they were called, but it was the conservative group of people, right wing, who turned up to protest, and then there was a counter protest from the left sides, and there was debates going on, and the thing is, what gets me is the left think that we're trying to take away drag shows. We're trying to stop men dressing up in women's clothing and wearing loads of makeup and dancing, in a sexual manner, really provocatively. We don't care about that. If you want to go and do that with other adults, then you go and do what you need to do in that side of town. Then you just keep away from me. That's all. I don't. You know what I mean? It's about the children, right? We don't want the children going there. And the same parents who take their children to these drag shows, before this all got popular and it become trendy, did those same parents take their kids to the strip club every weekend? Did they?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
Yeah, they didn't take the think about, yeah, it'd be a good idea to take my kids to the strip club and, get them to put the dollar bills in the woman's, you know what I mean? You know what they do. And but yeah, it's all because it's a trend, and they think it's the right thing to do, and it's like you're clearly being conned by perverts in women's clothing who want to get close to children. It's just as simple as that, man. And sorry for being blunt, but that's just my opinion on that.
No, you're right on point. I mean, that is the actual problem that people don't really want to face for some reason, and it's really no getting around it.
Yeah, I mean, these parents should know better, man. They're adults; they should know better. You should not bring your children to things like that, man. And I don't know what else we can do to sort of, I guess, just keep talking about and debating it and trying to maybe protest it. I don't know what else necessarily we can do, really, but. Can I just quickly give my thoughts on the Just Pearly thing quickly?
Go for it.
All right, sorry, yeah. I don't watch her podcast. I have heard of her podcast. It's not really my cup of tea, that kind of genre of podcast. But in my opinion, I think obviously it's your podcast. I think if you started it, I think you should obviously bring on whoever you want and debate whoever you want. I understand that guy is quite controversial, but if you don't want to watch something like that, then don't watch it. There's obviously there's loads of stuff out there for you. I don't think she should have apologized, because at the end of the day, if you can choose, you can talk to whoever you want to talk to. It kind of bugs me that people come out and apologize and they try to sort of like, it's like, well, you knew what you was doing, you knew who the guy was. Stick by your guns and keep doing what you're doing and stop worrying about what other people think about you. That's just my opinion on that. What do you think about that?
The problem is you can just say, okay, I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to stick to my guns. But if you do that, now you're in trouble, because you've built up a platform and an audience that don't like him. It doesn't matter what she thinks. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks other than the audience. Now, if she doesn't really care about that, if she doesn't care about losing her audience, then so be it. If she wants to take her own channel, if she wants to destroy her own podcast, then just do things like that and go for it. But that's not a very smart move. Like, if somebody was to tell me, hey, if you bring this guy on, it's going to tank your podcast, I probably wouldn't have him on, because what are we doing? Why would I tank my own podcast? I don't understand. So she was really forced to apologize because of the backlash. Because if she doesn't apologize now, that's going to be hanging over her head. It's going to be an albatross in the neck, and it's going to hinder her process of being able to go forward. So if you don't really care about having success and actually growing your podcast, and you want to kill it, then don't apologize. Do whatever you want to do. But if you do care about it, then you need to apologize.
Yeah, you know what? I can't necessarily argue that, to be honest. I understand it's like from a business perspective. She must have known it was going to hurt her, and I do understand that. But I just kind of do find it a shame that there are white supremacists out there, there are black supremacists out there, brown supremacists, you name it. There are people out there with certain opinions that, again, I don't agree with. Whatever, it is what it is. I just kind of think, like, whether you like it or not, I don't think it should be. You should kind of like, she obviously just wants to talk and have a debate, which is maybe it's fair enough. And I don't think necessarily people should make a big fuss out of it, in my opinion. And, don't bring him on, and we're not going to watch your podcast anymore. And it's like, well, I mean, I just think it's a bit all blown out of proportion, but that's just my opinion, man. And I don't want to take up too much of your time again, ABL. And thanks again for everything, man. And take care, mate.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right, take care. Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. But yeah, man, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but there's consequences. There's consequences. I mean, if somebody's on YouTube and they bring on, if they do something that's like illegal on stream, that's a bad example. I'm gonna say nothing illegal. If they do something on stream that's very disturbing to the audience, although it might not be illegal, but it's very disturbing, and they do that all the time, or even just say they do it one time, it's so disturbing, everybody clicks off. You can't be like, hey man, you can't click off because, just because it was something disturbing, we should be able to do whatever we want, say whatever we want. It didn't do anything illegal. They wanted to do that. You see, you gotta think. You You just can't do whatever. You can do whatever you want to do, but there's consequences. The same way when you put certain content out there, it attracts viewers. You could do things that also repel viewers. You can't say it's wrong when you do a thing that you can't say the people who are repelled when you do a thing are wrong if you also don't say when you do something and attract people, it's the same thing. When you do things, you could either attract, or repel, or maintain. And whatever you do, you have to live with whatever happens. It's all good when you do something and it attracts people. When you bring on people, when you get in attention and money and notoriety, it's all good. But then when you do a thing that repels them, all of a sudden, they're the problem. Maybe it's you. If I put out a video that I know will be controversial, I have to understand before I do it, it could be a thing that repels some people. I live with it. It's not their fault. Ultimately, I put something out there that's divisive. Some are going to like it. Some are not going to like it. In her case, she knew he was controversial. She put a trailer out there. He's the most hated guy. He's been banned from this and that and the third. Republicans hate him. Democrats hate him. She knew what she was doing. She was trying to get the same Andrew Tate effect, bring on a controversial guy, bring up a lot of ratings and views and clicks and whatnot. But she didn't really know what she was getting herself into. Now, I tried to tell her. Others tried to tell her the same thing. Didn't listen. I know what I'm doing. I've done it before. I've brought on controversial guests before. Okay. Now you got to apologize. We warned you. You did it. You took a gamble and you lost. It is what it is. You got to live with it. Whatever you do to attract people, if that works, then it's all good, right? Everybody's all smiling. But when you do a thing and it goes the other way, now you crying. Now it's everybody else's fault. But you take the good with the bad. You accept responsibility when things go bad or when they go good or anything in between, period. But I digress. If you like what you're hearing thus far, if you enjoyed the show tonight, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. We got super chats on deck as I close on out. Thank y'all for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. I'll be back live again on Saturday. Same bad time, same bad place. 8 o'clock Eastern time to right around 11 p.m. I'll be here streaming. This is a podcast you're listening to right now. It'll be available on your favorite audio streaming platforms, whether they be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Apple iTunes, etc. Link for the podcast will be in the description box, or just go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. And thank you to all the mods, keeping the trolls in check and everybody in line. Shout out to YouTube for moderating the channel too. Shout out to you guys. Hey, you guys are my silent partner out there. Big up to YouTube. And that gets to everybody. Oh, thank you to everybody that's been watching, super chat, and retweeting. I couldn't do the show without you. I got super chats to read right here. Then I will wrap it on up, put the bow clean on it. Let me think. Let me see where I was. Thank you to Nick who says from she, her to he, him to was, were. There you go. Thank you to Conservative Patriot who says great show, ABL, allowing people to talk but listening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to Bobcat MIT. It's what you're talking about as far as the comments not showing up. Thank you for that. Thank you to Ed Ramsey who says the big picture for what we are experiencing in the U.S. is a progression away from God's authority. Thank you to Boomhauer who says this show is going in the history books as one of your best shows ever. Thank you for letting me vent. And shout out to Metro PD for their work. Heart emoji. You had a very good call for sure. I felt what you were saying right in my heart, and I'm being serious, man. Thank you for your contribution to the show. And thank you to Dutch Schaefer who says, so saying someone shouldn't have guns if they have a mental disorder is foolish. How many Americans are on meds for depression that function daily? I don't know, man. It could be kind of different. It depends, man. It's rough. It's kind of a slippery slope, but we get into the red flag law territory, and those laws can be abused. I'm not sure what the solution is, but if you have all the signs of a school shooter, or somebody that could commit violence, all the classic signs, if you're under the care of a medical professional, like she was under the care of a medical professional for mental health, that right there might be enough, maybe. But just saying that somebody mentally ill and issuing the red flag order on them, I think that's not going to be it. if you're gonna have a red flag law or something like that, you need to have hardcore evidence. Like this person's in the hospital, like in the straitjacket type situation. You know what I mean? You probably cannot have a pistol inside the hospital. If you're in a mental hospital, you probably can't have a pistol in there. You know what I mean? If you're in the funny farm, you probably cannot have your weaponry inside of that facility. But I think that'll be a wrap for me tonight. Thank y'all for being here yet again. I will see you guys next time. And until then, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.